Hello and welcome to episode 91 of the Movies in a Podshell podcast, the podcast where we pick a theme and we pick two films to fit that theme. But not this week. We're going to be going through the top 10 movies of 2024 and a little bit of Oscars chat. How are you, John?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I didn't even introduce you enough because this is the third take. As always, I'm joined by John. I don't have a nickname for him. It's the third take. I don't know what's wrong with me. What is wrong with me?
It's okay. It's fine. Going to talk about some 2024 movies. We'll also catch on what we've been watching. I've been bad and watched loads of TV, but some really good TV. But before I get into that, I'm going to let Jamie talk about some films, because I reckon you've been watching some bits. And you got a If You Like Hitchcock, but it's not a Hitchcock film recommendation, which I plan to watch this weekend because it's free on Amazon Prime. Or not free on Prime, but you know
Fantastic.
what I mean.
Yeah, so, I've got a few. I've also been watching a lot of TV. We were actually talking about whether we were going to release a special episode about something else, but we'll tell you after.
Okay.
I'll tell you about the films I've been watching, which hasn't been a lot because I have gone through a season of television and I'm on to a second season of television. So it's all John's fault.
So good. Anyway, yeah, go on.
All John's fault. So anyway, I have seen a 2025 film. I've seen The Monkey, directed by Osgood Perkins. Now, crazy. So Osgood Perkins did Gretel and Hansel, and he did Longlegs, actually, which potentially will get a mention today on our top 10 films of 2024. Osgood Perkins never knew till The Monkey came out that he's son of Anthony Perkins of Psycho. So had no idea. Anyway, so The Monkey it's a short story. Well, it's based off a short story by Stephen King. It's about two twin brothers that find a wind-up monkey, and then they have lots of dangerous deaths around them because of the monkey. Now, John,
a vision of hell. Is it as scary as the monkey in Toy Story 3? Do you remember that one?
The monkey in Toy Story 3.
The really creepy one who comes out.
Well, it is a bit like that, but it more reminds me of the monkey from Family Guy. You know, the monkey where it's like always pointing. It's more like that. You'd be absolutely fine with this. So if you do see it streaming, I would recommend it for you because it's a horror comedy. It's a comedy.
Okay, fun.
Loads of gore, but so much over the top gore that it's like a splatterfest. You wouldn't even find it.
Babysitter kind of territory.
Definitely like that. Babysitter territory. I thought it was really good. Definitely good fun. I've seen loads of mixed reviews. I've seen 6 out of 10s. I've seen 8 out of 10s. I thought it was solid 7 out of 10. Just gory fun. 90 minutes, the best length for anything.
Sorry, I'm just smirking because I just remembered 2 films for 2024, which both of us I think forgot and didn't put on our list. But it's
Did we not? Okay, well we'll see. We'll see what they are.
we'll work it out, but it won't be in your top 10.
Will it not? Yeah, I bet it's not.
Sorry, go on.
So then I watched a film called Stone Cold, not to be mistaken. No, sadly not. No. Obviously, if anyone's been watching WWE, have you seen the Cena heel turn? Crazy. Anyway,
amazing. Yeah,
it is amazing.
I didn't even watch the wrestling, but I've seen that, and it was.
Oh, have
good.
you? Okay, yeah. Good. Oh, I'm glad you've seen it. It's 25 years in the making, you know. I watched a film by Craig R. Baxley, called Stone Cold. He also did a film called Dark Angel, which is quite a bit of fun. This is wild. Like, I bought it on Blu-ray because I just had to own it. It would be the best Roadhouse double bill ever. It's basically so over the top. It's about a cop who joins a biker gang. And it's just everything about it is over the top. The FBI, the cop's going to get fired basically, and the FBI force him to go undercover into this biker gang. And it's just, it all gets a bit, they're trying to capture the gang, but it's certainly nothing like The Departed or anything like that. It's very much wicked needle drops, proper rock music.
It sounds weirdly like the 2004 Punisher film. Do you remember that one?
I ain't seen that one. No, I have seen that one. It's fantastic.
That's the one he's no. There's one in 04, one in 08, but the 04 one's the one where it's got John Travolta as the baddie. Is it that one you've seen?
Fantastic. That's a really good. That's a really good film.
I think I remember you saying to me you liked that back in the day. I need to revisit that. I watched the video about it the other day, and I was like, I've not seen that since I was about 12, but I'd be well up for watching it again.
I don't care what anyone says about that. This, it's a really good. Maybe we can do. Maybe we'll do a so bad it's good. So bad it's good episode.
Either way works.
But it's good fun. So this is it like that? No, I'd say it's a bit more schlocky than that. It's just really over the top violence. Yeah, it's just it's ridiculous, really. It's starring Brian Bosworth, who's like an ex NFL player, who like went in like he's basically like if you click on him on Letterboxd, you'll see just like loads of pictures of him like that and like America Man, like shit like that.
Did you watch like when we were at uni? Did you watch The Marine with me, which was like the John Cena film?
No, I didn't.
Like wrestlers are in like action films, but they're like their first film where they're not like a real film. They'd be the equivalent now of the straight to Netflix variety, but back in the day it was like straight to DVD.
Yeah. So they're onto like the Marine 5 and stuff with the Miz, and they just replaced John Cena with like other wrestlers.
Other wrestlers. Yeah.
They're produced by WWE, I think, those films. So it's like fair enough.
I remember the first one was fine. You know what I mean? I watched on a Friday. I had a fine time. Anyway,
those films have their place, like almost like Roadhouse remake. Like you have to watch it
with a curry and a beer
while getting absolutely steaming because they're not that good. I then watched a really interesting film actually from last year called Thelma. So I have been trying to like watch more films to try and just bolster everything. So Thelma is it's directed by Josh Margolin who hasn't done anything else, I don't think.
Parker Posey.
It's starring June Squibb, Parker Posey, who kind of in love with, to be honest, like, and have been for a while.
She's incredible in White Lotus at the moment as well.
Oh, she's in White Lotus.
Oh, she's got like a real southern drawl, and she's just amazing in it. She was in like really weird. Netflix did a reboot of Lost in Space, which was all right actually. It was good, not great. But she was very good in it. She played Dr. Smith.
She's had such an interesting career because she's almost like an indie darling. Like she's been in so many interesting films. Dazed and Confused,
Party Girl, Dazed and Confused,
Coneheads.
Yeah.
Like she just had a really interesting really interesting career. Like I really like her. So this film is about a 93-year-old played by June Squibb called Thelma. And she basically gets like scammed over the phone for $10,000, and basically the phone jacker pretends to be her grandson, and basically like he's in trouble and he needs 10,000, and she's basically goes on a rampage to get revenge on this person that's done it, and so she's trying to track them down. She goes to like an old and like steals a like mobility scooter. Like it's really funny but really heartwarming as well. Like I would recommend it. It's definitely a film to watch with a family kind of thing. Like I found it really lovely. Like a lot of people, I thought it was a 7 out of 10. A lot of people have given it higher than me, so and it'll be in a lot of people's top 10s, I'd imagine. I then watched I revisited finally after many years The Green Mile. Now,
how did you find that? Because like that's the one, and I always used to get it confused with Shawshank, which is probably sacrilege to say, but
do you know why?
Prison films, similar-ish era,
the same director.
Is it actually?
It's the same director, right?
Jeez,
so
I didn't realise
Frank Darabont, Frank Darabont. He did Green Mile in 1999 and Shawshank in 1994. Now, I mean,
this is the one with the talking mouse.
It's not a talking mouse, no, but it is a mouse. There is a mouse in it, but anyway, it's not a talking mouse.
I've seen it for a long time.
It's a 3-hour film.
Does he talk to it as if he's real, like in Castaway when he talks to a beach ball?
Yeah, again, I guess so. Like, I guess
probably what I'm thinking of.
It's a 3-hour film that doesn't feel anywhere near its runtime. Like, could we say that
he's in that? It's who's the prisoner in it? Who's brilliant, and he was in Daredevil 2004. He was the Kingpin.
Sam Rockwell?
No.
Okay, well, Sam Rockwell's in it, and he plays like a completely unhinged character. I mean, could we say that Frank Darabont is the master of the prison movie? Because he made Shawshank 5 years before this. I cried twice.
Michael Clark. I'm getting confused. You said Green Mile, right?
Yep.
Michael Clark Duncan. Who played Kingpin in 2004 Daredevil. Absolute beast of a man.
Oh, yeah, of
May
course,
he rest in peace. Like, he's in it as well, isn't he? And he gets like a really emotional scene, if I remember.
No. Don't spoil it for people. We can't. I know it's a film from 1999, and I know.
Okay,
but
fine.
I almost went in blind as well. Like, I kind of knew the ending, but there's some story beats. I cried twice. Honestly, there's some scenes in there that are just like, they're just so heartbreaking, and the writing is perfect, and it's fantastic. The only thing I can't get on board with is Tom Hanks's like southern drawl.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
Did you think of Forrest Gump too much? Did it kind of take you there? Or not
a little
quite,
bit,
or?
like a little bit, but it was like it almost seemed like too over the top, maybe. But look, David Morse is in it as well, who you obviously would know. Well, I know him from actually Disturbia, which I love, and he's also in Contact. He's the dad from Contact that we covered a few episodes ago. It's just wonderful. Like the whole thing pretty much takes place in a prison. It just doesn't feel like it's runtime at all. Like it's lovely, but then does break your heart. Now I'm going to save the best till last. I watched a film called Arena, which is 1980s complete and utter schlock. It's about an intergalactic fighting competition between like champions of various worlds, and they go to fight each other. It's
also an episode of Star Trek the original series called Arena. So.
Really? Okay. I wonder if it's based on that.
Well, 1989.
It's 1989. Yeah. It's got Paul Satterfield in it, who looks exactly like Christopher Reeves, and it's just. Like, I don't know if I could recommend it. Like, if you want something like really daft,
Satterfield. I've never heard of him.
Well, it's really daft, and you can't really. If you're not really up for concentrating,
he does look like Christopher Reeve. Sorry,
he does. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, there we go. There's that.
Wow.
And then I watched a film called Idle Hands. So Idle Hands, 1999, pure nostalgia. Very much a horror comedy. You've got Seth Green in there, Eldon Henson, who we all know, Jessica Alba, who must be. I don't know, man. She looks about 17 or 18 in it, and it's basically about a boy who, like a teenager, who's basically his hand gets taken over by like possession. It gets possessed, and he can't control it, and it's like going crazy, and he's like trying to kill people with his hand. It's really good. I say really good.
You enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's
That's
really
fine. It's
good fun.
Things. They don't all have to be great.
No, they don't.
It's fine.
Now, let me tell you about a film that I've got on Criterion actually, and it's been on my list for ages. It's called Charade. It's by Stanley Donen, who also did Singing in the Rain, and it's got Singing in the Rain all over it. The primary colours.
Cary Grant.
Now, this is Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn. It's colour. It's 1963. A lot of people might know. Well, I say that a lot of people might know it. Film buffs will know it, I guess. This is basically just kind of you've got Regina Lampert, who falls for Peter Joshua, who's Cary Grant. They're on a skiing holiday in the French Alps. And
Can I just say, even the storyline on IMDb says it's what's been called the best Alfred Hitchcock film that he didn't direct, which he didn't direct.
I said that to you, but I didn't. I didn't read the IMDb.
Literally,
I swear to God, I did not read the IMDb.
It says that, and do you know what? Before I went on a bit of a list because you and I like quite a few of the Hitchcock films, so I did one of those kind of.
We love them.
Similar to Hitchcock films of that era, and that's probably on lists like in the top 3. Put it that way.
You are gonna love this.
I know. I will.
This is so basically, her husband's been murdered, and he's got money hidden away, and they're trying to there's three men that are trying to basically track her down to basically try and find where the money is, and it's like a very much a cat and mouse, like you don't know who to trust kind of situation.
Sounds like Catch a Thief.
Yeah, there's loads of primary colours in it. It's really lovely, and it's just hilarious, man. It's like it's genuinely funny. Like it's a great comedy, and I'm going to be recommending it as a comedy. Listen to it, like it's really funny. Like so, you've got Audrey Hepburn, and her comic timing's fantastic as well. And there's just this scene, like one of many, but it's right at the start, so it's fine for me to say it. But she's like. Well, wasn't it Shakespeare who said, when strangers do meet in far-off lands, they should ever long see each other again? And Cary Grant's like, Shakespeare never said that. And she's like, how do you know? And he says, it's terrible, you just made it up. And she's like, oh, well, it sounds right. And it's just like, the way it's that kind of like, really quick, like banter, like all the way through. It's brilliant, and I know you're going to love it, and I really just want to hear your opinion on it.
It's really interesting. I've literally found a blog article. It's like the double feature of Catch Thief and Charade, and it literally shows side by side images of the same shots from like how similar they are. It's really interesting, but like I'm going for it. I like both. I think I like both.
It's brilliant. So I recommend everyone on that. That was like that's the best film I've seen in a very long time, and it's going to be one that I revisit, much like On the Waterfront. Those kinds of films that I'm just going to constantly revisit now, like probably, hopefully once a year or something like that. But yeah, Charade is currently streaming on Amazon Prime. I just recommend, for people out there that don't like old films, I just like, there's no excuse for like this just perfect writing and this romance, and it's just really good fun. Cary Grant's quite a lot older in it. I was actually surprised at how old he was, and because them two are kind of having a fling. And Audrey Hepburn, I think she's probably in real life around 32 or something, and he must be well into his 50s. But yeah, wonderful. Yeah, definitely
there you go.
recommend
The difference. So this is off getpetoclocks.wordpress, but it says Grant played a reformed cat burglar. Sorry, it said he was uncomfortable about the age difference with Audrey Hepburn.
Look at
the
me, I'm so.
So they made a few references to it in the film. Anyway, do you know what? Let's not say any more about it, because otherwise we're gonna peel it off. But there we go. But yeah, I am very much looking forward to watching that. That'll be good.
And what have we both been watching, John?
Da, 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 da. Wow! That's the intro for Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Terrible. That's
It
terrible.
was brilliant. So I think when we last recorded, I was charging through season 1, or I watched season 1 in a week. Well, it took me a little longer to watch season 2. I think it was a week and a half. But,
Double the episodes, that's why.
2 weeks. Yeah, still loving it. We are still having to plunder through on DVD because of the terrible remasters. But anyway, season 2 of Buffy has some of the best individual episodes. There's still some filler in season 2. Season 3 is the first series where there's no filler and everyone raves about it, and I've got that. I've just started that and I'm delighted. Excellent. And also, you can tell the production value goes up each year in Buffy. Now, you're saying you don't like the look of season 2 so far, but season 3, the night stuff is just cleaner. Don't know if it's lit differently or different film stock, but straight away you can see there's a bit more money behind it. And even the daytime stuff, it just looks like a newer show, even though there's like a year's difference. But I cannot wait. Season 3 is my favourite. It's the build up to like Faith's in it. We get the mayor, and the mayor's built up all through season 2, which I've forgotten about, and like that kind of serialized TV with longer form storytelling in the background and watching it come to fruition. God, you got a good season. I actually was watching an episode of season 2 and I messaged Jamie and I actually said just had an afternoon tear over an episode of Buffy that's like 20 something years old.
Wild, man. That's
and
wild.
I've watched it through like 5 or 6 times in my lifetime. But anyway, it's funny how many times, because there's so many episodes, you actually still forget stuff. Because it's 22 a year.
Yeah.
I'm like, I remember the key beats, but I can never remember like how we get there. And there's so much in between. Yeah. And I'm like, also can't get over, and Jamie and I talked about this, a load of the episode plot points are like Buffy being casually sexually assaulted and then being told to not respond because she's too strong, right? And then deal with it. And it's just wild because it was the 90s, and I suppose just Me Too hadn't happened yet, and there was a lot more going on not challenged, but it's just wild.
Well, there's a lot of stories that have come out about the creator.
Course, but it's just interesting it being like that casual within the show. Do you know what I mean? It's interesting. But anyway, are you enjoying your rewatch? You finished season 1.
Yeah, finished season 1, straight into season 2. Yeah, I am. Yeah, obviously it's very much like Monster of the Week, and I was actually like surprised at how little plot the first season had. So you've probably got like 4 episodes that really have an intertwining plot. You've got the first 2, then you've got Angel, that the episode called Angel. Then you've got maybe the last 2, but a lot of it's very much like, oh, we've got like a computer that's killing everyone, like shit like that. Like,
season 1 was very much like, if there's never a second season, it completed its arc, because the idea is she doesn't want to be the Slayer. She's moved to a town because of what happened in the original film, which is basically
the end of season 1. Like honestly, the end of season 1, where so spoilers for Buffy, by the way. So
for a show from 1995 or 96,
but we would recommend you go watch it. But also, if you don't have an open mind, maybe don't go and watch it because you'll slate it. But basically, and do you know what? The Marvel is literally where the Marvel quips come from.
We said this last time. We won't go over it.
It's okay.
There's so much of like the style of Buffy being so successful is actually kind of why we are hindered in so many shows now with the tone. Because
what I was going to say was the last episode of season 1. Again, spoilers. The bit where she basically, the prophecy is that she's going to die, that like breakdown that she has as a 16, she's like it's quite clever really, because she acknowledges that she's like, I'm a 16-year-old girl, I don't want to die, like, and all this, and it's quite like, it does get you like a little bit.
Sarah Michelle Gellar is a far better actress than was given credit for at the time. I think at the time people were like, oh, like Buffy kicks ass and whatever, but there's some serious meat, especially in the later seasons of Buffy, where she's dealing with there's basically a whole series about depression, which was like very heavy for people at the time, because I'd say TV shows naturally now are more darker. Like early 2000s, I don't think it was so much like so popular, but like she deals with some pretty heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And anyway.
Well, we were going to do an episode about Buffy season 1, so if you want us to, I reckon we'd be fine to do it. We'd be fine to do a deep dive on that, because I've literally, it's so fresh in my mind, and we could probably do an episode in season 2, like in a few weeks' time, once I'm through it. But I need to talk about something which isn't
as good though.
Tell me.
I'm really sad. So I loved the original run of Daredevil. I've talked about it on the pod before. I'm pointing over here. I've got a lot of graphic novels of Daredevil. There's a very famous run by Brian Michael Bendis, which was like 3 volumes thick, and it's incredible. Amazing artwork. And the Netflix TV show is pretty much based on that arc, and it was, as the meme says, perfect. Absolutely perfect. And it basically was. It was kind of limited by the budget, so the fights had to be more grounded and more realistic, and it made it really engaging. They had amazing choreography. They tried to steal the old boy thing of having one-shot fight sequences and in the Raid, and they did an amazing job. So that series ended pretty much perfectly. 3 series, very good. And then 8 years later, I can't believe it's been 8 years, but it's like 8 years later.
No way.
Yeah, and then this new one comes on Disney Plus. And I'll be honest, straight away alarm bells are ringing, because Disney recently have not had a good run of form. Apparently this show had multiple issues. It's had multiple reshoots and all the stuff you normally hear. But, you know, that sometimes happens. And it was like the opening sequence. And I won't do spoilers, but all I'll say is I saw a CG double flipping and jumping around. I actually WhatsApped Jamie a clip straight away because it pissed me off. And it was literally, I felt like Daredevil in 2004... had like dodgy physics on the cutaways, right? And I honestly felt like we'd gone back to that kind of vibe. Was what the series did before, was because it didn't have the money on the Netflix one. It was lower based and more hand to hand, and more like how the Dark Knight, for example, those fights were choreographed, because it was like they didn't have the budget to do the special effects. But now he's flipping and yapping around, and like it's just obvious digi doubles, and like you get these sequences where, you know, when you get the one take shots, but it's very obvious it's not one take, it's CG'd, and like there was even like a simple thing, like a grenade went off with, like, what's it called when it's like a flashbang, but it's just the gas, like the gas
Tear
came
gas.
out, and you know, straight away you're like, the grenade looked fake before anything really even happened. Like, it just looked, you could tell it wasn't real. And like, I know on the Netflix show that would have just been a real one, because they just wouldn't have had the money to CG it, so they would have been like, well, we'll just get these. And you don't want to compare, because I love Charlie, I've forgotten his name, the guy who plays Matt Murdock, and I love the guy who plays Kingpin, and like, they're brilliant. And like, it does still have the swearing and has the violence, but it also is shying away. I've only watched 2 episodes, to be fair, but the original one had so many like other layers to it. It felt like HBO premium TV, and this feels like another Marvel show.
You know, people really are raving about this. You know, people are raving about it.
That's interesting. Maybe it gets better. Maybe it gets better.
No, I think they were raving about it after the first 2 episodes, but obviously,
do you think that's because people who like Marvel? Because there are some people who've been
love the MCU.
No, but some people have been reviewing this who don't watch, who never watched the Netflix show. A lot of positive reviews I've seen are people who've never watched the original, who are like, oh, we don't mind that this massive thing happens in the opening episode because we never watched the previous 3 series. I mean, and also, like, it was so ground level in the Netflix show, it kind of ignored the MCU, and it worked. And then this is going into the whole, I represented Spider-Man, and I know She-Hulk, and
well, the thing is, right? MCU fans,
probably
when you've starved someone for like 2 weeks, they're gonna think that a slice of bread is like the best thing they've ever had in their entire life.
And to be fair, this is better than a lot of the Marvel shows I've watched in recent years.
It's not hard. It's not hard.
It's one of those where it's shot well. Like the talking scenes and cinematography is good.
Yeah.
But the other show had a very distinctive look. It was very gritty. It was very like earthy tones, very grainy, intentionally, a bit like BSG of that era or earlier than that. And this is very just like, it looks as grey and muddled as Civil War. And like, do you know what I mean? It's just got that look.
They don't really like colours though, do they? The MCU.
But I've talked to you about this before. I'm sure it's part of that
CGI.
integration of trying to key it in. But it just made me really sad that like it felt so physical and visceral before. Like Daredevil gets battered, and loads of the things is just like he just has a bad day and gets absolutely clattered. And like in this, it was just a bit like he was still getting beaten up, but it just felt like, oh, there's his CG double jumping up and down and being whipped about. I keep saying this, the Marvel, the when it was on Netflix, they didn't have the money, so it was a real guy getting battered about. So it felt more like it could happen because it was happening. And
is the story good?
Rant over. So far, yes. I think like plot points, it's the Wilson Fisk trying to become the mayor, rather than being Kingpin.
I'll
really
send
cool
you over.
comic.
I've got the graphic novels to that. Like,
it's really good.
Yeah,
and he tries to outlaw vigilantes. So in terms of
that's a really good storyline.
If I get past my thing of the jarring disconnect between the two series, because it's basically a soft reboot. It's a Force Awakens. It's not, but it is, because it's like, here's all the characters you know from the last series, and then it's like, oh, and everyone's moving away like instantly. You're like,
oh really?
You're like, oh. And it's basically like, forget about everything you know from like the 3 series of 30 plus episodes.
Why have they got
and this is my worry when we talk. So we talked about Buffy earlier. They're talking about Buffy not being a revamp now. The latest thing I read was it's going to be a continuation with Buffy being a mentor.
That's what I want. That's what I want.
Yeah, but there's a lot of 7 seasons worth of lore you've got to condense for your new audience, because this is what Disney do, because this is Buffy will be Disney property. It's
going to be shit,
and it's going to be like, hey, how do we recap 7 series of stuff, and how do we make there's 3 series additionally, or 2 series of comic book lore. I think they'll scrap that. I think
so do I.
That's
100%.
It's just season 7.
Is Joss Whedon anything to do with it?
No. I don't think he's got any say whatsoever.
I wonder why.
I think he's blacklisted. Okay,
yeah,
that's not the phrase, but I feel like I don't think he's. I've seen I don't think Sarah Michelle Gellar's relationship with him, what she said publicly before, they fell out a long time ago anyway.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and she was pretty I'll always talk about Buffy and I love Buffy fans, but I'll never talk about working with him.
Oh, okay.
She said,
because I know that Charisma...
Before,
is it Charisma Carpenter?
Yeah, she stood up and said about
there was a lot
she basically got fired for being pregnant, and he told she was ruining a series. Oh, anyway, we're not getting into all that.
And I bet Angel didn't... anyway, never mind. We're not going to go there, because... Yeah, anyway, did you hear that about Daredevil? A nuanced opinion for once. Doesn't hate it, doesn't love it.
I honestly
there's
feel
good things and there's bad things.
It feels currently at a 6 out of 10, but if the plot of Wilson Fisk plays out like in the comics, then I'll probably like it more.
Have you read the comics?
Yeah.
Those ones, they're really good.
It ties into the Spider-Man one, when Fisk becomes mayor. But my biggest problem is, just because you have the money to do something doesn't mean you should do it. And sometimes, and we take the mickey out of the A24 brand, but what they do really well is, if you've got limited budget, you're really creative with how you use it, and you make it distinctive in certain ways. And the problem is with Marvel, for me, feels like they've got so much money that they almost don't know what to do with it, and then they're just like, oh, we can make this fight better with CG, and it's just it looks worse. Why don't you just... do you know what I think it is? Because they can't change it afterwards. They'd actually have to choreograph and not change the story.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Just because we say it, don't we? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. It's
funny you mentioned 2 is a prime example of that. There's so much of that I enjoyed, but there's parts where I'm like, that doesn't need that. But there we are. Sorry.
Yeah, it's good. Well, you mentioned A24, and about how well they do with money and stuff. It was funny because I seen this new film by the Russo brothers. Speaking of Marvel,
oh my god,
The Electric State on Netflix. It's currently sitting at 15%.
200 something mil, was it?
No. I think it was more than that. Electric State budget. It was 320 million.
But I don't understand. So generally, let's take away the bashing side of this.
Yeah.
Who thinks by spending 320 mil for a film that's going straight to Netflix, like what return are you? I don't understand what return you're expecting.
And this is it, isn't it? Like I think
I don't really get.
I'm not going to bash it because I've not seen it. So
no,
the thing is, like, this is why everyone's subscriptions are going up because
but
stuff
just
like
make cheaper things that are better.
So my point was that every single A24 film released last year cost less combined than the Electric State.
And I guarantee you had a better time watching any of those films.
Whenever the Russo brothers and Millie Bobby Brown get together, it's real bad news. Anyway, we are gonna. It's true, honestly, I swear to God, we are gonna talk about our top 10 films of 2024. Just like last year, just like the year before, we're gonna go one, and we're gonna go. It's going to be John, then it's going to be me, then it's going to be John, then it's going to be me,
and
we're going to
start
talk.
at 10 and work up to 1. It sounded like you meant we were starting at 1. We're starting at 10.
Yeah, if someone mentions something that is higher on the list, we wait till we get to theirs on the list. So, for example, if I mention Wallace and Gromit at number 10, and John's got it, and John's got it at number 3, then we're like, okay, cool, I've got that higher up, so we'll talk about it later. That is the rules. So, I mean, Wallace and Gromit for me is on an honourable mention, which we're going to talk about at the end.
Are we doing? Okay. All right.
Yeah, we'll talk honourable mentions at the end because then it leaves a bit more mystery for the audience, you know. I always get excited about this. Do you know what's really funny as well? If John wasn't doing the podcast with me, I know for a fact they'd just be like, you wouldn't really be watching many films, would you?
I mean, my entire list, I was looking. 4, 5, 6.
Don't out yourself.
I saw 17. I saw 17 last year from 2024 to 2024, which I think was not bad, considering watching the other pod films as well around that. Done all right.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah.
Anyway,
right, cool. So
let's do our top 10.
Are we gonna have a little snippet in there, like a little?
That's it.
Like that's your jingle. Right, cool. Number 10, John. What you got as number 10?
So I've gone for. I'm still not sure on this in terms of positioning, but I went for Blink Twice.
Blink Twice, okay, cool. Not on my list. So tell us about Blink Twice. And the point of this is for listeners out there, is really like for casual film fans as well, just to kind of like get an idea of like the really good films that came out last year, what they're about, and maybe it'll inspire you to go and watch one. So Blink Twice.
Blink Twice is kind of like a horror thriller. I think is probably it's more thriller than horror, but it's got horrific elements to it, definitely. And it's kind of a take on Zoe Kravitz is the director, and she said it was based on some of the things that came out about Epstein's Island. It's a fictional story, but it's kind of taking beats of that. And effectively, it's about you meet Frida, who starts the film, and basically we see some weird imagery and work out how it relates to a guy who's got a bit of the rich CEO vibe, who takes her away to a swanky island, and you know something's not right, and then basically watch that unravel in weird and mysterious ways. But what I like about it is it's one of those films where it's daytime but you're scared. So Midsommar's the perfect example of I'm scared and it's bright outside, which is quite an impressive feat. And this film is that, and it's not a perfect film. There's some stuff towards the end I wasn't as keen on, and but watching Channing Tatum be a bad guy was really good. I think he's really good in it, I think Naomi Aki's Frida, she's great. We really enjoyed it when we saw it. I mean, we saw it separately, but I saw it at the cinema, and it's a distressing watch, though, I would say. Like, it actually has a warning at the start of the film, doesn't it, about the themes within the film. So
there are themes of like sexual assault and
violence against
women, like that kind of thing.
And
but
men, actually,
and men. Yeah, it's a really really interesting watch. Yeah, it had me. I say it would be a good double bill. It'd be a stressful double bill with "Don't Worry, Darling." Had that very much.
hard work. But the other thing I would say with that is the cinematography for this film is glorious. Like, it's one of the most luscious, colourful films I've seen in such a long time. But I always feel weird when you like say I enjoyed that when the subject matter is so grim. But like, it was a really well executed horror thriller. But anyway,
great directorial debut for Zoe Kravitz.
Very much so. Your number 10?
My number 10 is a film called Longlegs, which I believe John didn't get round to seeing last year, which was a shame.
Not to watch it alone as well.
I told you not to watch it alone, did I? Yeah. See, so it went from like me and John being at uni together and me like thinking it was funny to scare him to like now I think I've grown up, I've matured, and I just care about him. Well, I cared about him then, but I care about like I realised the damage that I did, you know, and so now I'm like I just
Chucky Part 2.
Chucky Part 2. You never let it down. So this is directed. Longlegs is directed by Osgood Perkins. This is starring Micah Monroe, Nicolas Cage, and Blair Underwood, amongst a few others. A little performance by Kiernan Shipka in there as well, who I really like. So this is about an FBI agent who is given a new recruit, and they're basically assigned to an unsolved case of a serial killer. And it's basically the case is twisting and turning, lots of evidence, and we kind of get this idea that the occult is part of it. I really thought it felt a bit like True Detective season 1. A lot of people have compared it to
vibes.
Well, Silence of the Lambs actually. So when this film came out, everyone was like, this was the film where it's like, it's the scariest film ever made, like, and all this, like, you know, like the marketing for it was absolutely fantastic. So the marketing was great. I think this is an A24 film actually, but yeah, who cares? But yeah, I'm sure it is. Anyway, a career best performance probably from Micah Monroe, and I gave it an 8 out of 10. If I rated it any higher than that, I would be saying it's on par with Silence of the Lambs, and I'm just not prepared to do it because when there were so many people out there that were comparing it to Silence of the Lambs, I'm like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, the same themes, blah blah blah. When like, but it cannot lace Silence of the Lambs' boots. Do you know what I mean? That film's had 30 years to like resonate with people and kind of mature over time and for people to consider it, and I think that when a film comes out, we are very quick to like jump on the bandwagon.
Recency
best film ever. Yeah, and I think it's really important to like when you do watch a film to just like stew on it for a few days and think about how you feel about it, you know, rather than when the credits are rolling in the cinema, get your letterboxed up and rate it. This is a solid 8 out of 10. It's on Prime Video, just like Blink Twice as well. It's on Prime Video as well.
It is, yeah.
In the UK. Yeah, this is it's really good. Like there are some, I would say it is scary. Like there are some scary moments. Nicolas Cage has a completely unhinged performance. I mean, what's new? And yeah, it's just really about like Micah Monroe kind of trying to unravel this mystery, and what it looks like. And it's just, I would say it's a real creepy, well, like a chiller almost, like a chiller / thriller. And yeah, maybe I won't ever say that again. Anyway, John, what's your number 9?
Really bad rap. My number 9, I don't think Jamie saw, but it was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So
I didn't. No.
This is like, I think it's a good few, maybe 50 plus years. I can't quite remember if it's 50 or 100 years, but it's based many years after the reign of Caesar, which is like the original trilogy.
Like Julius Caesar or
Caesar the Ape, played by Andy Serkis.
Thank you for clarifying.
Just to clarify. But I think, aside from Avatar 2, probably the best CG characters ever seen. Didn't even think about it. I'm watching literally, you know, apes run around and you just don't even think about it, which is mad. Like, to watch the entire film and not even question it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of building up towards the original first Planet of the Apes film. It's kind of getting closer and closer to that time frame.
Yeah.
But I just loved it because, you know, in Avatar, like the first one was about the forest people, and the second one was about like the water people, and it kind of like, and the next one's about fire, isn't it? Like this did a similar thing. So the guy who directed it, I think it's Wes Ball, who did the Maze Runner trilogy. And basically he said, this has to be like in Avatar, where everything feels lived in and real, as in it's got a history to it. I don't want it to just appear. It's got to have a logic. And basically these apes use, like, you know, like eagles that come back and call. They're
cool. Yeah.
They've set up like this system with them, and basically you see all that play out, which is felt like very Avatar or How to Train a Dragon, however you want to think about it. Yeah. That kind of like relationship building. And then it builds on the deeper lore, and you get the bad guy is Noah, played by Owen Teague, who's brilliant, But just I just really enjoyed it. It was a really good blockbuster film, but I don't think it did blockbuster numbers. I think it does well because I think people weirdly always are interested in the apes and the CG.
Yeah.
So even like if they don't do massive numbers, I think it always does enough to kind of keep interest. And there's also like there was a character who was a human who was one of the only people who could read, and one of the apes was like, "I want you to read to me every day because knowledge is power," and all that. There's just some good stuff to it. I really enjoyed it. But just visually and special effects wise, just no fault. I think we're just at a point now where it can be done. And Marvel
if it's done properly,
can be done.
It can be done.
Like thought out, and like that film was obviously planned to the nth degree and just executed perfectly. And they've had a really good run on those films. Like all of them have been really, really good. So,
so I've only seen the first two, maybe, and I wanted to go for a rewatch because I haven't seen them since they came out, and I remember the first one making me quite sad. It was quite a stressful watch.
They're all quite sad.
Are they?
And this one weirdly isn't as sad. It actually ended on a hopeful note. But anyway, yeah.
Did you mention? I mean, the most important part of all of that was you mentioned Maze Runner trilogy.
Oh, yes,
banger, so underrated. I love the Maze Runner films.
Do you know one of the best things about Maze Runner films is the score for the second film is incredible, out of nowhere.
Have you seen this?
For some reason, I've seen one I saw at the cinema, two I saw at the cinema.
I love that you've seen it at the cinema.
Three.
So
but
good.
What I would say is the score for the second one, I think it's Maze Runner Scorch Trials. It just weirdly has an absolutely banging soundtrack. Some films out of nowhere just have an incredible soundtrack. It's not Hans Zimmer and whoever else, but it's just really, really good.
That's like, oh, please, Hans, don't go too hard on this. And then it's the guy playing like, in the desert, and it's on fire, like and he's playing the piano on fire. Love that. Maze Runner is they're great. They're great films.
Which is obviously your number 9. No, I'm joking. What's your number 9?
My number 9 is a film called The Outrun. Directed by Nora Fingscheid, something like that. She also directed the film with Sandra Bullock called Unforgivable, I think.
Yes, when she's a convict, you don't know what she's done, and it's her reacquainting in the town.
Good film that was. So The Outrun is starring Saoirse Ronan, and we'll talk about Oscar snubs later. She's out of rehab, and she returned. I spoke about this a couple of pods ago. She returns to her home of the Orkney Islands, and basically, it's like Orkney Islands is just off the Scottish coast. She's 29 years old, and she's basically lived for about a decade in London. And we kind of see like lots of flashes about her past and stuff. Like she's had a drink problem, she's had relationship problems and stuff like that. And this is about her going back home to visit her parents, and I guess coming to terms with her life and what's happened, and the memories she has, and also like a traumatic childhood maybe. It's really, like, her performance is unbelievable. Like, and I don't think this film's really been spoken about much. It really reminded me of one of those like BFI kind of films, like independent kind of British film. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, it reminded me of Blue Jean. It reminded me of what's the film from a couple of years ago that we seen? It had Paul Mescal in it, and it was about domestic violence. It really was like proper low key. Will you Google that? Paul Mescal.
Is it the one with his daughter on the holiday?
No, it's not that one.
Sorry,
but yeah. So it's like the film is a drama. It's a slow burn, but it's really
Oliver Strangers.
No, sorry, it's a bit lower key than that. God's Creatures. Is that a film on there? That's what it's called. God's Creatures.
God's Creatures. Sorry, yeah, it's up.
So it reminded me of like those types of films, like very low budget. Like it's a kitchen sink drama. It's all about the writing. Her performance is just unbelievable. Like, and she obviously is struggling with alcoholism, and it's just about her kind of coming to terms with it. It's brilliant, and I'd really recommend anyone goes to see that. It is a dark watch, and I think I said a couple of pods ago that obviously, like, if you have had experience with people in your life that have gone through alcoholism, it probably is a tough watch. And I didn't really know what it was about going into it, so on a Friday night when I watched it, I was like, oh, for crying out loud. It's very much that kind of like vibe, and it will
like Leaving Las Vegas kind of
I think if you've grown up with that kind of thing, it will be a difficult watch. So I would kind of warn anyone going into it that like if you are sensitive towards that, or even if you don't think you're sensitive towards it, you might find that like you are. So yeah, I'd really recommend that. Like as I say, Saoirse Ronan is such an unbelievable performance and completely ignored. So yeah, the Outrun, lovely bright spring watch. It's the first day of spring today, John. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
It bloody feels like it as well. It's lovely weather, wasn't it?
It was very nice weather. I drove
to Chester today. I put my sunglasses on. It was fantastic. Anyway, what's your number 9?
It is Nightbitch, which is one of the films we saw at Bath Film Festival this year, which I very much enjoyed. I went back to Bath a few weeks ago and went to the same haunts and bought loads of books. And the theatre, remember it had some scaffolding up when we were there?
Yeah.
All sorted now. So that's
all
good.
Sorted. Oh,
all sorted. Like I signed it off. But sorry, all sorted now.
Do you remember the scaffolding? Don't worry, I've sorted it.
It's done. But anyway, so we went to see Nightbitch there, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Nightbitch, long story short, is about an artist played by Amy Adams who pauses her career to be a stay-at-home mum, and essentially she starts a new chapter in her life where in the evening she feels like she's transforming into a dog, but basically the trailer implied to me like it was a comedy about that, and it's really not. It's like a metaphor for at this stage in her life and working out who she is and like a new personality coming through. But like just super relatable for like even if you've not got children, people go through parts of their life where they're rediscovering themselves and trying to work out their place. And it's weird. Do you know what it's like? It's like a coming of age film but for an adult. That's what I think I would say in terms of like
put that on the poster.
In terms of like journey of discovery and just some really like difficult conversations and like working that dynamic out as parents having a child and like the sacrifices made for that and working it all out. And the kid in it is it says Emmett James Snowden was brilliant because it's just a little kid who's having the time of his life on a film set, and there's like a scene where they're like, don't get the paint everywhere, just paint on the paper, bane of my life. And then he starts painting like hands in all around the kitchen and just causing chaos. We've all parents have been there, so like it's just it was just really well done and thoroughly enjoyed. I don't remember it being that long, hour and 39 minutes as well, so good runtime, but just a topic which probably doesn't get talked about that often. It is available on Disney Plus.
Is it? Okay, I didn't know that.
Would recommend.
Great performance from Amy Adams in that, and the one thing that I will speak about another actress who's been doing it a little bit later, but Amy Adams, like I love that she's kind of got no what's the word? She really lets go in this, and really doesn't care about like how she's viewed, or like she's not bothered about like the glamorous part of like Hollywood. She's just really being quite silly in a lot of these scenes, like, and really puts herself out there. And I think, and I really,
it's not quite kitchen sink drama like you said, but it is that more kind of gritty level. It's slightly surreal at parts as well.
It is surreal,
it's a weird one, but like there's parts of it where it almost feels like documentary, like the way it's shot. Like when it's her and the kid at home, they just got that really well, and it just captured perfectly the sheer joy of the experience, but intertwined with pure exhaustion and repetitive nature and how it made her feel. And like it's a difficult subject matter and like hard things to get across, and it just really executed that well. And like there's something in it for everybody in terms of that, but just a really, really good performance. Really enjoyed it. So yeah, what is your number 8?
My number 8 is a film which I don't think has had enough plaudits and people speaking about it, which is
Roadhouse.
No, that's not on the list. That was a shiter from early on in 2024. Strange Darling. This was directed by J.T. Molnar, who I've not seen any of his other work. This has got Willa Fitzgerald in it, Kyle Gallner, who you might know from Dinner in America, which is a fantastic film. And this is basically about a one-night stand that turns into a murder spree. And the film it doesn't play out in order. So I can't remember what's it called when a film's out of order. What do they call it, John?
Non-linear style.
Non-linear storytelling. Yeah, it's non-linear storytelling, and I would say, so 98 minutes, I would say just go into this completely blind. Try not to read anything about it. Just know that It's about a one-night stand and about a serial killer. That's all you need to know. It's directed really well. Willa Fitzgerald is fantastic in this. And yeah, it's just some really, really good performances all around. The cinematography is like really stood out for me in this. Just really good, like fun to look at and fun to watch. The opening 5 minutes was, I felt like it was riffing quite hard on a Tarantino film, with like the crash zooms and that kind of thing. It felt a little bit on the nose. Solid 8 out of 10 for me. Like I really, really enjoyed this. I don't really want to say much about it.
I've only seen the poster, but it looks very stylized and cool. I'm intrigued.
I can't really say much about it because the point Drive.
Similar vibe, like music and stuff? Or not really?
No, not really. Like, okay. I'd say that like it's more. No, I'd say that just the cinematography style is just quite stylized and stuff, and the kind of shots they're using in the zooms and stuff. Like, it's pretty gory, but it's go in blind, know nothing about it, because that's the whole point of enjoying the film and finding it fun. You know, that's just what I'd recommend. So it's a film just about a one-night stand and a serial killer's murder spree. That's all you need to know. Willa Fitzgerald is fantastic, and they don't have names either. We've got someone called the Lady and someone called the Demon. Kyle Gallner, as always, is just absolutely ace. Like, he's like also like a hot, like great, like horror actor. Like, he's been in quite a bit now. He's been in the new Scream film. He was in Red Eye, Nightmare on Elm Street, Jennifer's Body, Smile. He's just great. Like, you'll know him if you see him. But anyway, yeah. So Strange Darling, number 8, banger. John, give me your number 7.
Twisters. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Do you know what? We've got very different lists. This is great.
Yeah, we have. Of course we have, because mine are more blockbuster, I'm not going to lie. My next film's not.
And mine's more wanky.
That's fine. That's what people like. Twisters, do you know why I really enjoy Twisters? Because it feels like a 90s film that got released this year. Last year,
it's just such good fun, wasn't it?
It just reminded me of, like, I say Contact, probably not so much Contact, but more like Jurassic Park, that kind of, well, yeah, that 90s era.
Did it remind you of Twister?
Well, funnily enough, like, look, it had some good it just felt like a 90s film where it felt like weirdly hopeful and optimistic, considering a lot of the film was about tornadoes ripping through communities, but it seemed to try and have a positive message in it. But like, I don't know, Maverick was great because it was people who loved flying planes having a good time, right?
Amazing film.
I rewatched that recently, it was so good. And this was the equivalent for Twisters. It's watching people be passionate about something and them enjoying it, like, wholeheartedly. I know it's acting, but wholeheartedly just enjoying a hobby and like being unashamed of it, because we have gone through an era of cinema where, and I very much enjoyed this era of cinema, but there's been a lot of dark, gritty and miserable stuff coming out, and we made Superman miserable and we made Batman miserable, and that's not bad as well, you know what I mean? And I love that phase and I've really enjoyed it. But then to see something that's really like hopeful, optimistic, and just being like, hey, I'm Glenn Powell and I'm good looking and like I've got quite a lot of charisma and just come along for the ride, and it was funny, like it was just funny.
What a bloody year he had, eh? Glenn Powell, mate. He's had a great year, hasn't he?
Him and Daisy Edgar Jones. But just it's a blockbuster film. Basically, it's a well executed blockbuster film that is probably 2 hours on the dot, perfect for being shown at the cinema multiple times in a day. It had a really good sound mix. I like the score of it. It also has a cool album in terms of like the tracks that are on the that he's playing in his car as he's going through. It does a good job of taking the mickey out of like YouTubers and the dangers of that as well and stuff. I just really enjoyed it. But
Mark
very different to your last film.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Mark Kermode's review of Twisters did annoy me a little bit, because he was like, we're gonna go towards it. We're gonna go towards a twister. Oh no, there's loads of twisters. We're gonna run away. It's like, well, like, it's a film about hurricanes. Like,
well, it's about people who chase twisters. So that's literally what they do, I'm guessing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
It was quite it was quite weird to hear him talk about it like that. But what to do?
It has very good CG. It's just well executed set piece. It reminded me of like an old Roland Emmerich film. Do you know what I mean? That's basically what it felt like, and I just enjoyed it. I had a good time.
Yeah, I wonder if
it quietly.
Has Roland Emmerich got any more good films in him? I wonder. I really, really wonder.
how about your number 7?
Oh my god! Right, this was one of the films I rated. So I'm gonna say 7-3. They could all be kind of interchangeable, really. This is a film called The Order, which is currently on Prime. Do you know what? These are all on Prime.
Prime are banging it at the moment.
Prime are
it's almost
smashing it.
Paying for those adverts to get removed at this rate.
Mate, I have paid for that. I'm not watching no adverts. Like, have you not?
I've not watched much on there recently, so I've not been bothered. I'm
just not going to sit there and like go through adverts. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just.
I was watching Daredevil on Disney, and they kept playing for me the advert to watch Daredevil. And I was literally like,
I'm so sick of it. Do you know what? I also pay for YouTube Premium because
I do pay for YouTube Premium now.
Oh, you do? Okay, yeah.
That was the classic case of had a trial of it, thought I wouldn't be that bothered, and then now can't go back.
They're taking the piss now, like that. Like it's like watch this 9-minute video, but there's 4 ads, and I'm like, no thanks. Anyway, so this is a film called The Order. It's directed by Justin Kurzel, who did a film called Nitram, which is the Australian film about the school shooter, called Martin. He's got a pretty good track record, if I'm honest. He did a film called The True History of the Kelly Gang, and he also did Macbeth, which I hear is very good. Assassin's Creed we won't talk about.
Which Macbeth? Is the one with Fassbender? That is supposed to be good.
I don't know. Anyway, I think it is. So The Order it's gone completely under the radar, and a lot of people haven't seen it. But this is about a string of violent.
Justin Kurzel, did you say? Sorry,
Justin Kurzel, yeah. A string of violent robberies in the Pacific Northwest, and we have an FBI agent, Terry Husk, played by Jude Law, who I normally don't like, but he's fantastic in this. And he's basically trying to overthrow these white supremacists. Well, sorry, he's trying to basically catch these white supremacists who are trying to overthrow the federal government. Now, it's 2 hours. I would say it's a little bit. Is it a slow burn? It's. There's not loads of action. However, it's thoroughly enjoyable. And I would say probably some of the. Bar a couple of these films, it's up there with the best cinematography of the whole year. I know I said that about it. There's loads of like really interesting shots that I don't know who did the cinematography, but he's on fire like throughout this whole film. Like it's brilliant. Like it's a proper. I know it sounds like bad, but it's just a proper film. Like. I know that sounds like, what are you saying? Like, this will be like, someone will clip this on YouTube and be like, oh, look, there's a film podcast saying it's a proper film. But you know what? Do you know what I mean by that? It's everything, every single part of it is just been
movie and there's films.
Yeah.
Like that. I always joke, but like Finch said that, didn't he? Like, movies are the ones you buy your popcorn for. A movie is Twisters. A film is Vertigo, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like it is a slow burn Nazi hunting procedural, basically, and it reminded me of the assassination of Jesse James. It reminded me of Heat. Like that's the kind of vibe you should think of. I think that people are going to stew on this film. People are going to find this film in years to come, and it's going to be completely reappraised, or like it's going to find an audience at some point, just like stuff like Shawshank. I genuinely would put it in the same breath. I think it's genuinely a breathtaking film. But think when you're thinking about it, think of those like slow burns. Like Heat is a slow burn. It's a long film, but it's all about character building, and that's what this is. Jude Law is. I really don't like him as an actor, but in this, he's brilliant. Nicholas Hoult plays like the head of the kind of this Nazi association, and he's also brilliant. And it's just a cat, and again, like kind of a cat and mouse film. They're trying to get each other basically, and it's just wonderful. Go and watch The Order.
Very good. Number 6 for me.
Oh yeah,
you might have this in your list. Kneecap.
Maybe. I don't have it.
Green light feels very.
This is crazy. We've not even spoke about what our lists are.
I think there'll be some clashes past this point. To be fair,
so do I.
So, Kneecap. I mean, it's a true. It's a bit like 8 Mile. There's truth to it, but it's kind of fictional retelling. But there's some real events, and it's about an Irish rap group and how they formed, and it's basically about a teacher who believes in preserving the Irish the Irish language, and basically they do it through hip hop and rap, and the teacher's worried he'll lose his job, and then it basically follows him as he goes through and comes to terms with that, and it all plays out. But there's incredible performances, considering that the 2 of the 3 leads aren't even actors. They're artists first and foremost, then they're actors. It's really
Crazy.
really funny. Like it feels like a less depressing Train Spotting. It's much more comedy focused, but it's just really really good fun. And yeah, I mean, it was one of the most visually interesting films I'd seen in a long time. Like, it just had energy, didn't it? I remember saying to you after when we came out, it was like, yeah, it was like high intensity. Like, there's like drug filled sequences and stuff, but it just did a really good job of like getting across the kind of mayhem of the certain scenarios, because they were performing in places they shouldn't perform and singing things they shouldn't. And basically, the Irish language was trying to be like banned at that point, wasn't it? Is that right? Or
Yeah.
they were trying to phase it out completely, and they preserve it, and it's basically showcasing that. But just
But it's not recognised as a language, is it? That's what it was.
That's
It wasn't being recognised as a
hour
language.
and 45 minutes, but super high intensity, really good. And also, Michael Fassbender plays one of the dads, has like really good cameo within it. Just a really interesting product, because when we got to go and review it, I went in knowing nothing. I didn't even know they were a rap group. I didn't know what it was about. Kneecap, I thought it was going to be about a horrible incident where someone gets shot in the knee.
Yeah.
And it would be really depressing. And I got that vibe because I didn't watch any trailers. And actually, it's really good going into film reviews and not knowing the trailers, actually.
The Kneecap, like, I find it quite interesting, because the place I'm actually from is Scottish, and there's a big divide in terms of like Catholic and Protestant.
Yes.
And that was
kind of in this film.
Yeah, that was kind of shown in this film as well, like with like the Orange March. And I think if you have that kind of background, you'll really get a lot more from it. If you understand some of the references, the Celtic
I was asking
and
you quite a lot afterwards, because I didn't really get certain.
Yeah, the Celtic and Rangers kind of separation and the hatred and that kind of stuff. And actually, I recently visited Belfast a few weeks ago, and every single taxi driver was talking about, like, not knowing what we were like, but was talking about kind of this Catholic and Protestant and Celtic and Rangers. Every single taxi driver we got in was talking about it. It's really quite. I was surprised at how prominent it is. Yeah, massively. Yeah. And they were talking about the troubles in Belfast, like, and all that kind of thing with the IRA.
Yeah. Derry Girls was also a really good depiction of that, because it's weird, because it's like, it's a comedy, but it's in the background, and you can have like really serious things going on in the background and still have this kind of
really is like there's a
female in between us kind of.
I was growing up like I'm like, well, I'm technically Catholic, but I was brought up like, and it's quite harsh. Like, you really are taught to really not like the Protestant, like people that are Protestant and stuff. And it's quite, me as an adult now, looking back on it, like it's pretty wild, really, that it's like it's all about religion, and it's almost like the same religion as well. Like it's both Christianity. Like it's crazy. But I say crazy. I'm saying it's crazy, but like people obviously don't see it as crazy. Like they think it's a very important thing. But I guess as I've got older, I've kind of just become a bit more balanced on it, maybe. Anyway, right,
but yeah,
John.
Interesting film. Watch it. It's good.
Yeah.
And what's your number 6?
My number 6. Did you see this? I don't know. The Substance.
Are you joking? Of course I saw Substance. It's one higher for me, but you can talk about it.
No. We'll save it. We'll save it to after. So let's go on to your number 5 then.
Well, no, but it's a Substance. That's what I was saying. Plot 1.
Oh, right.
It's literally my number 5.
You don't even know your own rules. Okay,
no,
fine. I don't even know my own rules. Right. So The Substance. So this is directed by Coralie Fagiat, who also did a film called Revenge.
We did an episode early on in the pod, probably like episode 5 or something. Not even.
Yeah, we did an episode on The Substance, didn't we?
Oh, on The Substance. Gotcha. Yeah.
So you can go back and you can listen to our episode on The Substance. But if you don't want to go back, because maybe you suck, I don't know.
Best sound design ever.
Best fantastic sound design. This is a film about a fading celebrity played by Demi Moore, and she is slowly being phased out of Hollywood, I guess. Slowly being phased out. She's got a fitness show. She's a little bit older, and when I say older, she's probably in her 40s, like. And she's being phased out by the executive, played by Dennis Quaid, who is His name's Harvey, which is like, yeah, obviously, think of that what you will.
Interesting.
Interesting, yeah, interesting. And so then we've basically she doesn't want to be phased out because she's not ready, and she still looks fantastic, etc., etc. She's still got all the skills, but she is a little bit older, and obviously we know that does not fly in Hollywood, because when you get to a certain age, you're either for women, yeah, you're either a mother or you're a like a housewife or something. So she finds a black market drug called the Substance. Now, what the Substance does is she injects it. I'm watching this tomorrow night, actually. She injects it into her, and what this does is a younger version of her comes out of her, and so they are allowed. She is then transported into this younger body called Sue, played by Margaret Qualley, for 7 days. Now,
still thinking about the body horror from the end of that film. It's really pissing me off. Like it's the when they're in the lift and it's all starting to go wrong. Like that actually stressed me out more. But anyway,
no spoilers. Anyway, so we've got.
If you like The Fly, you'll love this.
Oh god, it's crazy body horror. So but then, so what happens is when you take the Substance, your older version is kind of sleeping or regenerating or something, and then the younger version, you are them, and you can only be that person for 7 days, and you have to swap back for 7 days. So 7 day cycles, yeah. If you and what happens is, I guess, Elizabeth, like the older version, Demi Moore, she starts to steal more. Well, I guess the younger version, starts to steal more time,
and it ages Demi Moore's character more and more.
Well, no spoilers. But yeah, we kind of see the consequences of that. So, John, tell me about that. Why is it your number? Tell me about why you loved it.
I was toying with it going higher, but some people really love the last 10-15 minutes of that film, and other people don't. And
me.
I did not like the last 10-15 minutes of that film. I felt like it went past the point it was trying to make, and I've watched so many interviews that have been discussed about it. We're not doing that now. I think Demi Moore is fantastic in it. I think the performance of Margaret Qualley or Margaret Qualley?
Margaret.
And just like it raises like very serious issues about the industry in a really creative way. And again, I keep saying cinematography, but there's lots of Kubrick in this. There's lots of straight leading lines, very kind of inspired by The Shining in sequences, the bathroom with all the mirrors. Very, very well shot. But as I said, the joke was when we saw the Substance was the packaging and branding for the Substance is the best marketed product I've seen in a hell of a long time. If that was on Dragon's Den, it's getting my full, I give them the full 50k or whatever they want. But like, it was just got incredible sound design. This film, like, and it's super visceral film. I really find body horror tough, and this film does have body horror in it. And it's one of those where I think it's a very good film, but I don't know how many times I'll rewatch because I'll find it hard to rewatch.
Rewatching it tomorrow, Friday night.
The first time I didn't know what was coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would recommend it, and I love the use of music in this, and again, music and sound design in this is very, very, very well done. So that is my number 5, and was Jamie's number 6.
So then, John, my number 5. It came quite early. So this is marketed as a 2023 film on Letterboxd. However, we didn't get it in the UK till like well into 2024. So I'm going to give you that, and it's going to be called The Iron Claw, directed by Sean Durkin. John, did you watch this?
Oh, don't think I did.
The Iron Claw is the wrestling film with Zac Efron.
Oh, no, sorry, no.
Okay, cool. So this is a true story of the Von Elric brothers, who made history in the intensely competitive world of professional wrestling, WWE, in the early 1980s. And basically it goes through, and I've spoke about this like months ago on the pod. This is basically about the brothers trying to, I guess, become the best of the best in terms of wrestlers. I can't remember how many brothers
vicariously living through them. The 3 of them, isn't he?
Yeah, so I think there's 4 of them all together. The 4 brothers all together. You've got Zac Efron playing Kevin, Jeremy Allen White, who you'll know from The Bear, playing Kerry, Harris Dickinson playing David, and then Stanley Simons playing... bloody hell, my screen's just gone off. Anyway, never mind. Bradley Simons playing Mike, and then we've got the dad, who is basically not a very nice man, and he's playing them off each other. They love each other very much, the brothers, and it's about their relationship, about kind of this family, like this, they're almost cursed. It's really sad, like a lot of really sad things. And I think by the end of it, I was crying my eyes out. I really was. It really had the. I remember when I spoke about The Quiet Girl. That kind of like the end is like really. There's a couple of films this year that have like
so good.
Yeah. Oh, unbelievable. There's a couple of films this year that have like really broke me. And it's bad because as I'm getting older, I'm just, I guess, becoming more sensitive to things. Like, and I don't know why that is, but
Zac more Efron, emotionally developed.
That's it. Yeah, my full frontal lobe is completely developed. Zac Efron is brilliant in this, and he's an absolute tank as well. You need to see the state of him. He's a beast. I don't know what he's been eating, zebras or something. Like he's a monster, and it's just really about the camaraderie with the brothers. The way the dad is kind of like this toxic. He's really promoting this toxic masculinity between them, and playing them off each other, and like, oh, you're my favorite son, oh, you're my favorite son, like all this, and they just, all they want is their dad's approval. Succession. Yeah, a little bit, and it's about kind of them wanting to become the WWE champion or WWF champion or whatever you want to call it. And after this film, I went and watched the actual the match, one of the matches where something happened. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone.
Yeah.
The Iron Claw. Guess what? Guess where it is? Guess where it's streaming?
Amazon Prime.
Absolutely. Amazon Prime. What's going on? Listen, we are not sponsored by Amazon.
Come on, Bezos, pay out.
Give me my money. So the Iron Claw, go and get that on Amazon Prime. Oh, The Substance, by the way, that is now streaming on Mubi, I believe. So it's out on Blu-ray, annoyingly, in about a week and a half, I think, right. From when this pod drops, or it might even be a week from when the pod drops. So it's out on Blu-ray.
On Mubi, sorry, excuse me.
I'm going to watch it on Mubi, yeah. I love Mubi. I love my Mubi. Anyway, John.
Joking.
Tell me about your number 4.
I think you're going to have it higher. It's Anora.
We are going to have it higher, so move on.
I'm
fuming about that.
For context, I've gone for my enjoyment of films I'm going to rewatch and gone hard on that for selection because I really struggled with my top 3.
My top 3 could be...
And I would say probably 2 of the films, or even 3 of the films above Anora, aren't better films in terms of craft and execution, but they are probably films I enjoy more for rewatch value.
Yeah, well, one of the films is definitely going to be on my top 4, so anyway.
Yeah. Okay, go on.
One of them. So my number 4 then, which I know that you'll be higher, is Challengers.
So that's my number 2.
Okay, cool. Right, so then...
And I think you probably guessed my number 1 now as well.
What's your number 3?
Can I say?
Yeah, because we're gonna talk about...
yeah, because we're gonna go through. So my number 3 is Alien Romulus, which I bet isn't even on your list.
Holy shit! It's not even on my list. No, but it's an honourable mention. So
okay, fine. So I was always going to pick Alien Romulus because I'm a massive Alien.
Number 3.
Yeah,
you've got. Woof. You're getting heat. You're getting some heat for this. No, I don't think you are. No,
but I'm not because look, if I am, I am. But what I was going to say was, I've very much gone on, as I said. I know Anora is a better film than Alien Romulus. Like, there's no question.
Thank you.
What film am I going to watch the most and get the most enjoyment out from over and over again? It's Romulus because I'm a huge Alien fan. The fact it's not at the top of my list.
Are you? You've never mentioned.
Oh, sorry. Right, okay. But like, I'd say Alien Romulus is up there for me in the Alien franchise. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm glad they're continuing, and I thought there were some bits of it which were a bit too... so, for those who don't know, Alien Romulus is set between Alien and Aliens, but it actually does a job of actually rounding out some of the ideas that weren't completed in Prometheus and Alien Covenant, which has always frustrated me. I actually have a soft spot for both those films.
Joint third best Alien film, what do we say? Joint third.
I don't know. Go back to our pod about Alien Romulus to see what we said then, because I actually can't remember what we said. But anyway,
joint third for me.
What I would say is there's some good performances in it, and I'm going to name cast now because I've forgotten his name, but it's the guy who was in Industry, David Johnson, who we'd watched the year before in Rye Lane. Yeah, love him. Think he's brilliant. And we've got Rains, played by Kaylee Spaney. Is that how I say it? It's Kaylee Spaney.
Probably.
Right? Anyway,
I think I don't think she'll mind.
Yes,
she'll just be happy to get name dropped on the Movies in a podcast.
Oh, sure. But anyway, Fede Alvarez directed it, who obviously has horror clout because he did the remake
Evil
Dead, which Jamie and I watched, and I'm still traumatized by that, where that cutter went.
Sick film.
And that box cutter. So yeah, I really, really liked Alien Romulus. And also the thing I didn't like, and I won't go into spoiler, there was one thing I didn't like, and they actually fixed it for the Blu-ray and 4K release, and it looks a lot better. There was a bad bit of CG in there, and it got fixed, and I thought, good on them.
So what are your thoughts on that? So we're massive advocates for going to the cinema, and the cinema experience would have been, well, better overall maybe, but worse.
I think it was a time
in
issue.
Crazy, isn't it? But that's the first time that's ever happened. What?
Well, no, it's
Hold
not.
On. I don't know. I know that's not true.
Think about the amount of DVDs where years later people go back and fix things. But
so years
later.
Oh yeah, because what's his name?
Lucas.
He fixed all the.
Spielberg CGI'd all the guns out of ET once. Did you ever know that? On the 2001 re-release, he CGI'd out all the guns and replaced
Spielberg's weird with stuff like that.
And then he was like, I made a mistake. And when they released the 4K and re-released it again, he put it all back in. So, like, at least he admitted his errors. But anyway, the tone of Romulus, like, there's like incredible sets in that film. It felt like very practically done. And Fede Alvarez tried really hard to use minimal CG. So it was a very tangible feeling to it. And he made parts of the series that aren't very creepier, such as the facehuggers. He did a really good job at making them feel like an actual threat. But the other thing he did really well was he's expanded on the world of Alien. Like, we hear a lot about the world in Alien through conversation, but we never really saw it. And we saw basically a prison. It's not a prison, sorry. This one was just a labour planet and how crap it was. It's basically like going down the mines, and it did a really good job of depicting that, so you understand why these people all go to space to get the hell away. Even though space is like hell with the aliens, it shows why they want to get off world. But yeah,
it's really good. Like I loved Romulus, I really did, and I
don't know what for a rewatch.
Yeah, I'd be up for a rewatch. Yeah, I'm going to buy it on 4K, so we'll do that together maybe. I thought it was great. Like I really enjoyed Romulus, and it was weird because it's got quite a mixed reception. But again, I think it's the whole.
I understand why.
People are just comparing it to Alien and Aliens, which obviously they will because it's in the same franchise. But it's like a really good film, you know.
It's interesting.
It's same as Dark Fate, but I'd say Romulus is better.
By the way, I'm just saying it's interesting looking at these. So IMDb says 7.1 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes says 80%. Letterboxd 3.6. Out of 5.
7.5.
So it's an interesting split depending on the community you're trying to hit.
7 and 8.
Yeah,
which I think is accurate. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
It's not Shakespeare, is it? Like, it's gonna. Yeah. Anyway, whatever.
That's good.
I really enjoyed it.
So the only things I didn't like about Alien Romulus was like just the crowbarring in of like old lines from. It was like a greatest hits, some of it.
And there was two moments I hated, and it was like. Not get away from her. Yeah, there was a get away from her.
Because it didn't make any sense.
It was reliant on the audience having watched that film and made no sense in the context of the situation. That annoyed me. That's the one that mainly sticks out. I can't remember the other one now. But,
the end is terrifying. The end of No, I'm not going to go into it. But the end of Alien Romulus. That was some of the scariest moments I had in the cinema this year. Last year.
Heard there is potential for the sequel for this to still link back up to Alien Covenant and Prometheus more than you think, because the end of Covenant was he had...
Spoilers.
Oh no,
you can't though, can you? Like
it was setting up basically a planet of the aliens. Let's just keep it as general as that.
Yeah,
right?
That's
it
fine,
was setting up a general planet of the alien situation, and because of the time frame and the gap, and we've still never completed, there is a window for it to kind of pan out. I'd love it if they did that, but they won't.
Anyway, I would love it if we beat them. I would love it if we beat those.
So is it your number 3 now?
This is my number 3. Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to police your spoilers. Like, do you know what? If it was down to John, everything would be getting spoiled.
About everything all the time.
Everything would be getting spoiled. So my number 3 is a film again that pretty no one's seen. Basically, this has been viewed 225,000 times, compared with Challengers, which is 2.34 million on Letterboxd. So, yeah, I mean, The Order's been viewed 98,000 times, so you can see what an under the radar banger that is. So this, my number 3 film is Didi, Didi, directed by Sean Wang. This is, it's the tagline is for anyone who's ever been a teenager. So this is a film set in 2008 during the last month of summer holidays before high school begins. And it's about a 13-year-old Taiwanese American boy. His name is Chris Wang. Isaac Wang. Oh, God, what's his actual name? Now I've got mixed up with what the actual actor's name is and what the what the actual, like...
I think Bottom is the character, right?
Okay, so Chris Wang. So yeah, it's about a Taiwanese American boy, and basically he learns how to be like a young boy, I guess, like, and it's just a teenage story full of angst, and Sean Wang completely nails this 2008 time period.
Is it coming of age?
Yeah, it's coming of age. He completely shows what, like, an absolute asshole boys of this age can be. And I think this film didn't really... I've recommended this film to a lot of people. The people that have watched it, they didn't like it as much as me because they really hated the lead character. So the main character of the film, he's not a nice boy. Like, do you know what I mean? He's a teenager. He's horrible to his crush. He's getting into trouble. Like, he's horrible to his mum. But I think it's actually just accurate in, like, capturing that time period that some teenagers would have been like. I compare the film to probably mid-90s, which is really good. I would say this is better than that. One of my favorites of the year. Like, the writing's really smart. It's realistic. It transported me back to 2008. Reminded me of, like, you've got his posters on the wall of, like, Paramore and the album Riot.
Just before we went to uni.
And, like, well, just after I finished sixth form, and it's like we still had a top 8 on MySpace. Being cool was the only thing that mattered. And this like really demonstrates all of that. And it's like he's got instant messenger, and he's instant messaging these girls, and it's about, like, do you remember when you type something and then you delete
Wait
it
for the response,
or you type it and you delete it, and then all that kind of stuff.
Set those annoying things which wobble the whole screen and all that
Nudging
stuff
people,
as well.
yeah, that's super annoying.
Nudge.
But, like, I feel like I'm really... I don't know whether I'm having a midlife crisis at the moment, or maybe at this right now, but, like, I'm listening to a lot of music from that era, and, like, a lot of things are making me feel nostalgic. I'm watching Buffy the Vampire. Like, it is 1996 TV, and it's just like this film captures that time period so well, and it also kind of shows the culture of like a Taiwanese family in America, and obviously the generational differences between his grandma, who is actually, like, Taiwanese, and then obviously his mum, who was born in Taiwan and moved over to America, and him, who was born in America but has Taiwanese parents. And it's like, it's all just about, like seeing girls and relationships. There's a scene, I mentioned it a few pods ago when I did speak about it. There's a scene where he says to his friend, will you call me in, like, 2 minutes? And basically he's changed his ringtone to the same song that was on her MySpace profile. So he goes up to her, and his friend calls her, and that song goes on. And it's stuff like that, like that I guess, like...
Oh, many a day of copying the MySpace song of the girl you like.
I mean, I never did that, because I guess I'm not a pure creep, like, but... Well, obviously you would put
especially when they pick really niche songs that are just, like... you have no right in getting near.
Well, you'd put like lyrics in your MSN, like,
the most
title,
depressing lyrics possible. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't. I'd usually put
yellow
in, like,
card.
Yeah, Fallout Boy.
Only one.
Yeah, and it's like you kind of want people to notice the lyrics that you put in.
You're like, yeah, I'm fine. Why are your lyrics about, like...
I'm just so angsty, man. Look, do you know what's really funny? I've got a Bayside t-shirt on who are literally a band from, like, that era who, like, I went to see a few weeks ago. But yeah, it's just, it really invoked, like, so much nostalgia from me. Like, I absolutely fell in love with it. And as much as you hate the lead character, you maybe don't hate him, but you can just kind of understand, like, where he's coming from, because he's a teenager, you know, like, he's 13 years old, and all that matters is the girl that he likes and being cool to the grown-ups and skating, and that's it. It's wicked. Like, please go and watch that. That is not currently streaming anywhere, but you can.
Of course,
you can't even rent it at the moment, but you can buy it. So, yeah. John, you're number 2. We
Challenges.
know. Challenges.
Also
okay.
on Amazon Prime.
Also on. What is going on with Amazon Friday? Jeffrey Bezos.
Whoa.
You did it. Yeah.
So, challenges. God, where to even begin? I mean, I think I remember seeing the first trailer for that film and just be like, it just looked cool. Like, it was just Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross score. It was this really incredible sequence of tennis played out from like the perspective of a ball, which I'd never seen before.
No.
It had Zendaya in it, and I'm a massive sucker for Euphoria. I never watched anything Zendaya was in prior to Euphoria, and to be clear, I'm not that keen on the modern Spider-Man films. They're not, as in the Tom Holland ones.
Yeah.
And to the point where I actually didn't know until watching Euphoria Zendaya was the same person in those films. Because I just feel like she has nothing to do in them. Anyway, and this film was just like just fire and energy in like a 2-hour piece, like melodrama, non-linear storytelling, jumping all over the shop.
Yeah.
But just like bottled sexual tension and God knows what else. Just like
someone reviews this on Letterboxd, which is like kind of similar to what you've just said, and it's quite a good review by Brian Espitia, and he says everything is sex except sex, which is tennis. I just thought that was pretty funny.
I've seen that before. Yeah, so it's about Tashi Donaldson, who Zendaya plays, who gets a career injury, so she vicariously lives her career through a partner, but you spend the film trying to work out who the partner will be. Will it be Art or will it be Patrick? And both of them have different traits. They're best friends, but they're rivals because they fall for the same girl, and it's like watching it go.
We reviewed this, by the way. Big long pod about this.
Big long episode with Claire from Mise en Scène Film.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting with challenges because like it's a film that's loads about sex, but like you don't really see any sex at all. It's all about like the build up and the tension and like the characters. You can see what's whirring through their brains through all of it, and like the end. There's a tennis game in it, funny enough, as it's called.
That's mad. That's so mad.
And during the tennis, like the climax of the film is very much supposed to be like the end of a sexual act, let's say. But it's just incredibly edited. It's just, I mean, sorry, I'm talking all about it. Where was it on your list? Was it?
It was number 4 on my list. So, like Luca Guadagnino.
You said the director's name.
Luca Guadagnino. This
right.
is so.
Yep.
I have a bit of like a odd relationship with his work, actually. Obviously, he's most famously known for
Call Me by Your Name.
Call Me by Your Name, yeah, which I actually reviewed on the pod with Jane when you were on paternity leave, because we allowed you on paternity leave as
very good of you.
Yeah. I mean, we obviously zero pay, but like we put you on paternity leave. But he's done.
What's he have that for? He didn't have the baby, did he? Do you remember Roy Keane said that when they were like, "We'll play tomorrow."
That's like, such a niche reference.
Sorry, niche reference.
No, it's good though. It's good. But he did a film called Bones and All as well, which I really didn't get on with. Like that's with Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet, it just wasn't for me. But he really knows how to shoot human beings, and you can smell them on screen. He makes the movie stars feel like real people.
They're sweaty as anything.
You see like things like the calloused soles of their feet and
camera like underneath them on the court. Like they had special rigs for like they're like walking over, more like what you see in commercials, like a Nike ad, rather than in a movie.
Like it was an advert for a lot of like kind of sponsors and stuff like that.
When what's his name? Federer's got like a shoe brand now, and all the deals are with Zendaya because of the fake tennis she played in that film.
Right.
So like, I remember being like, "Oh, on trainers, like I'm no interest or whatever." I think it's ON is his brand or something like that. And then I saw one trailer of him and Zendaya playing tennis.
Oh, is that his brand? ON?
Yeah. And then my marketing brain went, yeah, to be fair, I'm more tempted to buy them now.
They're well expensive, they are.
They're well expensive for what they are. They're basically just fancy New Balance, but anyway.
Basically.
There we go.
But, I mean, this like we reviewed it for a very long time on
there's a full...
Yeah, there's a massive like breakdown on it. But I think the difficulty with this film is, this is on Prime, as John said, but to a I guess... I don't want to say like to a casual viewer because it really sounds like we're talking down to people. I don't mean that. a lot of people, including film people, like really misinterpreted a lot of the stuff going on in the film, and really they did, didn't they? They
I
were
felt like it's a film which Zendaya said she watched it multiple times, and each time she had a different idea of who you should be rooting for or not. And the idea is, I think it's 3 flawed characters and 3 very flawed points of view, and no one comes out of it
very
well.
complex. It's very complex,
and it's a film which is worthy of rewatch because it's people manipulating each other, and some emotionally, some not physically, but emotionally in different ways. And actually, there's an argument of how coercive is she being, how coercive is he being, how coercive is he being through her, and like that's kind of the whole dynamic of it. But it's just
really good. It's
really
like
good.
It's,
would recommend.
Yeah, would recommend.
So your number 2, right?
My number 2.
Yeah, go on.
My number 2 is Perfect Days.
Not what I thought it was going to be. Yeah, okay.
My number 2 is Perfect Days. Now, again, this come out quite early in 2024, but we often forget about these films that come out early. Now, I obviously just showed up the Blu-ray of that. It's actually the movie 4K of Perfect Days. I spoke about this again a long time ago. This is just a wonderful film. I spoke about it on our half year. It was very high up on my half year list as well. I think it's just resonated with me all year. I just
remember which one it is. It's about the toilet cleaner bloke, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, there you go, guys. Back up number 1 then.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's about the toilet cleaner bloke. So
I didn't say like that. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that one.
Can't believe you said that. No, I'm kidding. It's so it's directed by Wim Wenders, who obviously you'll know from Paris, Texas, Wings of Desire, like those films. Slow burn. This is a slow burn. It's not for everyone. If someone says to me like, "Oh, but it's your number 2, Jamie," I'm like, "Yeah," but like, can I recommend it? Like, it just depends what kind of person you are. Like, it depends what your personality is. It depends what your attention span is. This is a very quiet film. It's a very slow film. I would say it would be described as slow cinema. It's about Hirayama, played by Koji Yakusho, who is a toilet cleaner in Tokyo. And we watch him on his routine. We watch him clean toilets. We feel like we're there. We literally watch him clean toilets multiple days. And there's no kind of... the editing's not like speeding this up, like you're just watching him do it. But the storytelling throughout watching him clean toilets tells you about the kind of person that he is. And he's very meticulous, and he really cares about the job that he does, even though he's a cleaner, which also tells us about the kind of person that he is, that he might have a job that's potentially like one of the least skilled jobs that people would assume. And he's really takes pride in cleaning these toilets in the middle of Tokyo. Outside of this, he has a really small apartment, very minimalist. The only thing he really has in his apartment is he's got a fold-out bed. He's got cassette tapes and he's got books, and he loves to take photos of trees. And kind of this is really just about, it's called Perfect Days, and it's kind of just about taking a breath. And I really sound like a wanker, and I realise that, but it's fine. But it's about taking a breath and kind of appreciating the world. And he sits on his break and he has probably the same lunch every day, just like John. And he takes photos of trees.
I don't anymore. I've not had that same lunch for a month now.
Right, you'll tell me what you have in a minute then, and I'll
tell you later. But
tell me that.
It's genuinely changed.
But this is like I say, it's a quiet film, and we have these other things that happen. We've got a man that comes to work with him that tries to start taking advantage of him. He's just a really kind man, and we find his niece. His niece comes into the picture, and kind of maybe 40 minutes in, the film is 2 hours long, but 40 minutes in, we have a family drama. It's very low stakes kind of thing, and it's just a really beautiful film, slice of life. And you'd say I don't get it. I'm like, but you don't have to. It's just about really just sitting there, and I guess it sounds bad, not bad, it just sounds a bit pathetic, but it's just about kind of just trying to immerse yourself in his world, and it allows you to do that. And it might even make you a bit more appreciative of the smaller things in your own life. And so it doesn't always have to be go and I've got a webcam shining bright light in my face and all that kind of thing. Sometimes you can just raw dog it, and just go to the park without your phone, and listen to the birds. So yeah, this is just about my review is this is about Hariyama, like raw dog in life, you know, like just
and being very thankful for the world around him. It's nice.
It's a wonderful, wonderful film, and I love it so much. And so that's my number 2 of the year. Never thought I'd say that, but I will watch it in the cinema. Actually, we were invited to a showing that John couldn't attend. So John also.
Sorry.
It's all right, mate. It's all right. You missed out on the number 2 film of the year. Anyway, what's your stinking number 1? I don't even know what this is, by the way.
I am Paul Muad'Dib Atreides, Duke of Arrakis. The hand of God be my witness. I am the voice from the outer world. I will lead you to paradise. I love that film.
May your microphone chip and shatter, mate, after that.
Sorry, my microphone did chip and shatter. Oh, God, it's so good.
What's the film?
Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
We're getting on to Oscars very shortly about who won and didn't win things. That film, for me, is technically, like, fantastic. Like, the integration of CG, practical effects. Denis Villeneuve is just a master stroke. Like, since, I mean, I love Sicario, but Arrival's a fantastic integration of, like, VFX.
Yeah.
Dune Part 1 itself, but Dune Part 2 is just, like, chef kiss. It's just... I don't even know where to start with it. Essentially, you pick up... The first film kind of leaves you... The first film did kind of a bit of a cliffhanger and didn't end in, like, the best place for me. It always annoyed me, but it's Paul... Atreides is on his journey to like learning about the Fremen, who are the natives to the planet, and essentially that it's about him leading a resistance movement. Let's just keep it as general as that. And
you were fantastic at that when we'd seen it.
The pop episode is a lot better version of that. But
like John happens to be really good at something that I'm not, and that is. He's really good at not even writing notes, but remembering and being able to explain really complicated plots in a really quite easy to digest way. I
recently read the book at that point as well, which helped. But
you were really good at that. Yeah,
please go back to the Dune Part 2 episode because we've got a good breakdown on that.
We've done loads of spoiler casts this year. We're smashing it, mate.
But yeah, Dune 2. I mean, like. Zendaya had a lot of eye acting in it, and what I mean by that, don't let that sound like I'm taking the mick. I thought she was incredible with a performance in terms of she didn't have to say lots, but just got so much across. And it's basically watching someone who is potentially a false prophet and watching him rise to power, and it's like deciding if we don't know yet what Denis Villeneuve's going to do with this. It depends what he does in Part 3. Yeah. Will he follow the book tale or will he not?
He has to, doesn't he?
I don't know, the third book's a bit mad at point. But we'll see. Yeah. But it's got... what's his name? It
Timothy Chalamet.
Javier Bardem, who's basically like a loyal disciple who goes from being a non-believer into to being against Paul Atreides to believing in him. Stilgar. Listen out, Gaib. Every time he sees him do something incredible. And just absolutely love it. And then you've also got Rebecca Ferguson as Jessica, who is Paul Atreides' mother. And you've also got Florence Pugh, Dave Bautista, crazy,
Léa
Seydoux, Austin Butler, Josh Brolin, Christopher Walken. I wasn't as keen on him being involved, but there we are. Stellan Skarsgård.
He was the weakest part of the whole thing, actually.
Do you know what that was for me? Because he had a New York, like he was the only one who wasn't doing like sci-fi kind of generic Englishy accent, high aristocracy.
We gotta protect Arrakis. Like,
he started talking with that accent. I was like, no.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, I just think, honestly, in terms of filmmaking craft, it's just near perfection. I know it's sci-fi, and who wants to, like, some people are like, I don't want to watch sandworms and spaceships, and I'm like, fair enough.
Could you
fine.
I do need you to explain one thing.
Go.
So the Dune Part 2 was made for $190 million.
Honest to God, like how?
And Electric State was made for 320. So can you explain that? So where did the 130 million go?
I have no idea.
Anyway, I agree. And I mean, Dune Part 2, it's not on my list.
And the score, the other part, Hans Zimmer does an incredible score for it, and it wasn't allowed to be nominated because you have to have a certain percentage of new score for it to count. You can't reoccur certain themes.
Shady that, yeah.
And like he's got this love theme in it, which is fantastic. The whole world of Dune, if I close my eyes and you hear a bit of the score, you feel like you're there. And I think it's very rare with films nowadays to to have that and not sound generic.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joey, go on.
No. I mean, we seen this in the cinema, and
Did we see it together?
No, we didn't see it together.
All right.
Did we? I've seen it in. I know I've seen it in IMAX.
I saw it 3 times, so I can't remember.
In cinema.
Yeah,
I mean, you also saw Batman versus Superman 3 times, so
I did, and I have no regrets.
You're the problem. Anyway, but you're also still a solution by seeing Dune Part 2 3 times.
I'm saving cinema.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you're saving cinema. So yeah, Dune Part 2. I mean, I didn't like it as much as the first one, but all the things that John said, I agree with.
Really?
Yeah.
He's got way better character development, way better arcs.
I just didn't like the stories, I guess. Which is like, yeah, that's
really.
Really?
Did we have this chat at the time?
Yeah, I think.
I don't remember you saying any of this at the time.
Well, because as I said earlier, it's important to like consider films and resonate on them. Blah blah blah.
Well, look, we should have differing opinions.
No.
I think one sets the stage perfectly, but it felt for me like it was very much a part one. Like this film feels more of a complete. It's The Empire Strikes Back. You've got your beginning. It kind of leaves. Does it leave on a cliffhanger? I suppose it does, but it feels like it still feels like more of a complete film than part one did to me.
Yeah, it does. But I just preferred part one. I felt like it was a bit more, had a bit more going for it. Don't get me wrong. When you've got was it Skarsgård as
Skarsgård, and then you've got
the big fight with him and
Oscar Isaacs.
Yeah, there's some really good moments and some like probably has the tensest moment of the two films. In terms of what John said, the way Villeneuve puts money on screen and how he delivers scale. I've said this since Arrival. The way he delivers scale on screen is unlike any other director. He just makes you feel so small compared to these things. And when you've got these big walkers and stuff, like they're just enormous. And you've kind of got the Fremen like trying to take down different parts of the Empire, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. It's really good. It wasn't on my list. Me looking at this list now, it's quite clear that I just love dramas, don't I? I
just realised what your number one is, and which is why you can put Dune 2 on. You put Rebel Moon Part 2 as number one, didn't you?
I think if people deduce what I did put as number one earlier on, we didn't speak about one of your films. We didn't speak about Anora, which was number what for you?
I put it as 4, and to be clear, on my rewatch value, I stand by. I will rewatch Aliens, Romulus, Challengers, and Dune 2 more than I will watch Anora. However, I am well aware that I would say Anora is a better film.
It's a masterpiece.
Critically than those. No, that's
my number one. My number one is Anora. John and I seen Anora at Bath Film Festival.
I've seen it once since as well.
Have you seen it twice now?
Yeah, I said to you, I bought it on Amazon. Sorry, I bought it on Apple.
Go on, son.
Sorry, Bezos. I bought it on Apple.
Yeah,
and rented it. Oh no, I had to buy it. I think to.
Did you watch it with someone?
Rent it. No, just rewatched it. Just thought it was very good.
That's crazy. Okay, fair enough.
Why would you not rewatch Anora?
I'm talking about the rewatchable films, but actually, like I've rewatched Anora. Like, how many times have you
watched the one that's not?
That's so funny.
I think that when I first saw Anora, I thought there was a threat of it being like a dark. I didn't realise it.
It's pretty dark.
No, it isn't. It isn't though. Like, there's a sequence where basically there's like a home invasion element to it. Let's say.
Well, let's talk about the plot.
Yeah. Go on. Sorry, you do it.
I'll me do it. So this is a film. God. This is a film about Annie, Anora, played by Mikey Madison. She's a young sex worker from Brooklyn. She gets the chance. Basically, she basically meets and marries the son of an Russian oligarch. He kind of. It's a pretty woman scenario, really, where he says how much for the whole week, and she's like, "Oh, well, I'm going to charge you this much because I know you're rich," and then it kind of spirals, and they love each other.
He wants to not go back home. He wants to be able to stay in America, so he knows if he marries her, he'll get the visa to do it.
Yeah,
and they have a sham wedding, but she doesn't
in
see
Vegas.
it as a sham wedding.
No, she's in love
and not
with him.
only does he until it all kicks off, but yeah,
the news reaches Russia. And their fairy tale is pretty much like put on ice as we start getting Russian gangsters that I guess, turn up at their door. And so this is obviously, it's a film directed by Sean Baker, who let me read you my review. My review from 19th of October 2024, right?
The weekend we saw it.
Yeah. Sean Baker holds the special sauce along with Andrea Arnold when it comes to being able to tell stories about normal people in a way that doesn't demonize them. He is one of the best writers in Hollywood at the moment, and for me, this is his best film. Mikey Madison turns in an Oscar-worthy performance with her charm, ferocity, charisma, etc. I haven't laughed this hard at a film in a very long time, and I haven't walked out of one feeling so empty. It's got the best cinematography of any of his films. It feels more filmic than any of his other films. It feels more Hollywood, but it still captures the groundedness that he's always reaching for. And then I compared it to kind of like, it really reminds me of Alan Clark kind of films. It reminded me of, like, I always say that he's the American Andrea Arnold in terms of how he shows people. And so there you go. I called it. And yeah, I think the film I cried at the end. It's just, what a film, John. What a film about people.
So the thing I didn't like about it when I saw it the first time was there's basically a sequence which I would say is a home invasion sequence, and I thought it was going to get really dark, a la Revenge.
Yeah,
I thought it was going that route. So
we knew
I
nothing
didn't
about it because it was at a film festival. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hadn't seen I had seen the trailer, and the trailer had picked up quite heavily on that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I, for some reason, was very worried it was going down a very dark route. So I wasn't laughing at the bit Jamie was laughing at, because I think Jamie felt like it was going to be a softer tone, and I thought it was going to be a lot darker. So I really struggled the first time when I watched it. However, the second time I watched it as I'd say black comedy, but still, like, because I knew the danger wasn't present, I enjoyed it a lot more because I could just, the absurdness of the situation and laugh along with it.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, like, there are some people out there that, like, I kind of heard where they were saying that
it's not that good.
They heard people laughing in the cinema at that part, and actually it was like she was getting sexually assaulted, blah blah, and all this. I'm like, it's just gone over your head, really. Like, it was supposed to be funny. It was played to be funny, and Mikey Madison, like, she actually spent quite a long time in Brooklyn, around that area, kind of spending time with the people of Brooklyn, learning the accent. The accent's amazing, and actually spent a lot of time with sex workers, learning what they do. Here we go. A bit of, did you hear that?
Jamie, can you ever do an episode without a bloody siren going past your window?
I live in a rough area, mate.
Clearly.
So it's only ambulances. So yeah. Just to confirm.
Just to clarify.
It's not police. It's ambulance. So yeah, like, I felt like it was hilarious, and the nature, like, the writing and stuff, and the way they talk, and she just, I don't know, she's so funny and, like, aggressive, but in a funny way. And you've got Yura Borisov, who was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, playing Igor, who's also, he doesn't really say much, but he's just fantastic at what he does. And it's just a film that will leave you feeling, it's quite very frustrating. It's kind of empowering. But yeah, it left me feeling really sad, or really
very
empty.
sad.
The empties, the ending is, like, can be interpreted in, like, lots of different ways, really. And I just think that Sean Baker, like, we'll talk about the Oscars in a minute, but he got people are coming from now saying, like, oh, like, well, they didn't have a union and they didn't get paid properly, and that, which is just untrue. But people are coming from him because they don't like the fact that he makes films about sex work, or he has a certain political, I don't know, leaning, I don't know.
Isn't it mad, though, that the marketing budget for this film, or for the awards campaign, was more than the actual budget of filming the film, which I haven't quite got my head around yet, but
crazy.
If that is true, that's a social media post. I think we should touch on Oscars, though, because we are going to talk about the Oscars anyway, but what I want to say is, just in relation to Anora, this did win Best Picture. It did win Best Actress for Mikey Madison. So,
like,
I mean,
as predicted, as
James predicted,
back in October.
It also got Best Director, which actually makes sense, because it seems to be rare when you get Best Picture and Best Director on the same time, because that doesn't always happen, does it?
No, they usually swap. So, like,
split them.
They were saying, like, for last year it was going to be Oppenheimer, like, and either Scorsese would get Killers of the Flower Moon Best Picture, or he'd get Best Director. It wouldn't be like Nolan for both. I can't remember who actually did get Best Picture or Best Director last year.
Just to say, this also got Best Original Screenplay as well. So it was edited, shot, and directed by Sean Baker, wasn't it?
Yeah. He does all of his own stuff. So the Best Director last year was Nolan, and Best Picture, I can't recall who won
also
Best Picture.
Best Film Editing as well. It's mad how much it actually did win. I'm just
Nolan actually did win Best Picture and Best Director last year, so that poo-poos. Well, before that though, usually
previously they used to split them. I'm sure they did. So yeah, the fact it got, it also got the Best Film Editing, and the scroll down. Yeah, he's done well for himself. Best Picture, Best Actress, Best Director, Editing. Oh, time.
I mean, they got five. It got 5 Oscars, and to be honest, I'm pretty happy with that, because he deserves it, and I think the film is. I think the film's absolutely stunning.
When we go on to Oscar chat, sorry, because we've completed our list. When we go on to Oscar chat, had you seen the Bruce list?
No, so I haven't seen. There's a few films I haven't seen. So I haven't seen Better Man, the Robbie Williams film, The Brutalist. I was quite bad at animated films this year. The Wild Robot, I know, is. Let's just quickly touch upon honourable mentions for.
Oh, sorry,
our list. So I've got a few honourable mentions here. So I've got Speak No Evil. Which is a film by James Watkins, remake of the Danish film Speak No Evil of the same name, with a slightly happier ending somehow. And then I've got Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. I think that was absolutely fantastic. I've got Monster, which it says it's a 2023 film, but we didn't get it till 2024. That is a Japanese film, which again, a non-linear film that kind of the story unfolds and changes as you watch the film. It's about a little boy, and you're not sure whether he's done something really bad. And then the last few, Land of Bad, which again, like, really good action film. I spoke about that a few episodes ago. Really good action film by William Eubank, who done the fantastic underrated banger Underwater.
Yeah, Underwater.
Yeah, we love that film. So
the best Alien film that's nothing to do with Alien.
Yeah, pretty much.
Literally.
So Land of Bad is a really good action film from last year, like really well done, starring Liam Hemsworth, Russell Crowe, and Luke Hemsworth actually, but really good, like super violent. Snack Shack, which was on my list before.
I remember that one. Yeah.
I mentioned Dinner in America. It's the same director, Adam Reimer. He basically, like, he reminds me of, like, he's making comedies. He's one of the bravest guys in Hollywood at the moment. He's making comedies that doesn't care what people think, you know, like, he's doing old school jokes, old school comedy. He doesn't care about what people think. Like, he's just making, like, really good films. This is like kind of like a teen comedy, kind of over a summer, where these boys, they get a hot dog stand, and they kind of like fall in love with a girl. Again, it's got that summer nostalgia for me. An incredible score, gets you right in the heart. I really think it's flew under the radar for a lot of people. That was on Now TV. And then Baby Girl. So Baby Girl is the last one on my honourable mentions list. Baby Girl is, and obviously it's starring Nicole Kidman, who everyone knows. I love her as an actor. This is starring Antonio Banderas, Harris Dickinson, Nicole Kidman. It's basically about a CEO, played by Nicole Kidman, who essentially starts having an affair with an intern, played by Harris Dickinson, cheating on her husband. And really, it's about, like, kind of the S&M, getting into S&M, and like I loved it because Nicole Kidman will never phone it in. Much like Amy Adams in Nightbitch, she fully commits to anything regardless of how it affects her, like, how people view her in real life. She's just done some amazing work in these last few years, but people were giving it like half a star because it made them feel uncomfortable, because they didn't like, I don't know, Nicole Kidman crawling and drinking milk from a saucer kind of thing. Like, it is an uncomfortable watch, but it's a really good film. Antonio Banderas in this film, So I really would highly recommend this. Just get off your high horse. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a film about someone having an affair. Remember, when you watch films, you don't have to agree with the subject matter.
With the moral underpinning of the entire thing.
Yeah, it doesn't make it a bad film, right? So if the film was about someone cheating, that doesn't mean you have to hate the film and give it half a star because it's nothing to do with the filmmaking or the story. Antonio Banderas in this film gives one of the best scenes of the year, and the film is worth watching just for that. Like, there's a scene that he plays and a realization of some sort, and he is just it's incredible acting from him, and it's some of the best, like one of the best pieces of acting I've seen in the last few years. So Baby Girl, massively mixed reviews. It's sitting at 2.9 on Letterboxd, which is unbelievable, to be honest. Again, I think it's because people just can't take the moralistic factor of it. So yeah, anyway, John, what have you got on honorable mentions?
I'm just going to list the other films I saw in the year that
okay,
because there weren't that many. So the ones I left off my list were Joker 2, because I didn't hate it as much as everyone else did, but I didn't love it. Yeah, it was
cool.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Rebel Moon Part 1 and Part 2. I never went back and watched the extended cut because I heard that it wasn't reviewed that much better. I wanted more from it. I was disappointed. I liked 1 more than 2. 2 fell flat for me.
Was Rebel Moon the worst film of the year for me? Pretty close. Pretty close. It was terrible.
I was just gutted because I love Snyder and I really wanted him to smash out the pub. Anyway, let's chat for another day. There's 2 episodes on that. Mean Girls was a genuine honourable mention because it's got some banging tunes in that film.
Very mixed reviews for that as well.
Anyway, Deadpool Wolverine is another one I saw that I just didn't include because aside from a really good Madonna cover at the end, which was very heavily influenced by Stranger Things having Running Up That Hill, I just wasn't that arsed. Gladiator 2, did I enjoy that more than Deadpool Wolverine? Probably not, but
I mean, yeah.
Immaculate, do you know what? Immaculate I was toying with because
Sydney Sweeney. Good fun. Real good fun. I
was going to say, quite a shocking kind of horror, and I'm a dumbass because despite the title, I didn't really think about what the plot might be.
Oh yeah, because midway through the midway through the pod, when we were talking about it, you were like, you had a realization that it was about
Immaculate.
So funny.
Makes sense. And then Wonka, which I listened to the soundtrack more than I saw the film, but I actually quite enjoyed it. Chocolate in my pocket.
Yeah.
Roadhouse was the other one I saw. I thought it was fine. I enjoyed Conor McGregor being completely nuts in it.
Yeah.
And then that's it. That's everything else I saw. So there we go.
Good. Cool.
Oscar chat.
Right, Oscar chat. So we're not going to go through every single section. We're just going to hit the main ones, really. But we've got a few questions about the Oscars. So do you want to? Do you maybe want to what were your top line thoughts about the Oscars? If you had any, did you have any at all?
I'll be completely honest. The majority of the films that were voted in there that I'd seen was limited. So the ones I had vested interest in were Substance, Dune Part 2, Anora. I'm trying to skim through what else was actually in there that I'd seen. You always get those films towards award season which come out seemingly out of nowhere.
Emilia
Perez kind of came out of nowhere.
Which
I'd only seen one clip of that on Instagram and was interesting. So
that film, I was actually people were praying that did not get anything really because people are hating it absolutely.
Well, I think it didn't upset people within the community it was trying to represent as well. So I think there was a whole thing.
I
think there was a lot of things going on. Also, for me, score wise, I saw that Dune wasn't allowed to be considered because of issues and
quite sad.
So basically, in terms of Oscars, Best Picture, so winner was Anora. Obviously happy on that front because, I was
over the moon for Anora to win that. I didn't want anything else to win that at all because it needed to win.
It would have been interesting if it was The Substance. It would have really been
that would have been my second. That would have been my second choice. It would have been my second choice.
And I think actually credit to, because this has happened before, when Sigourney Weaver got nominated for Aliens, and it was the first time a science fiction picture had actually been considered in such a light it could even be nominated.
Yeah.
Isn't it impressive that a horror like that is getting the recognition for Demi Moore. She didn't win, but the fact it's actually got the recognition, or is it just the self-fulfilling prophecy of that film, which is it's been phased out, so that's why she didn't win Best Actress? It depends what narrative line you want to take.
Well, people thought that was quite an interesting look at it, to say that Mikey Madison won Best Actress over Demi Moore. And it starts playing the
subsequent noise, and they're like, "Oh, it's Margaret Qualley."
So in terms of Best Actress, like, I think that for me, if Demi Moore would have won it, it would have been a pity win, if I'm being perfectly honest, because
I don't know, that sequence in the mirror I still think is absolutely incredible. But yeah,
she's really good in the film. I don't think and she's had a decent career. However, to give her Best Actress just because she's getting older and this was kind of her last hurrah kind of thing like that, it was almost like the film was playing out genuinely. But really,
yeah.
when I compare Mikey Madison and Demi Moore's performance, I really think Mikey Madison like wiped the floor with every single person in that. And Kim's.cinema.escape writes in and says, Oscar snubs, biggest Oscar snubs. Two of the biggest Oscar snubs for me was Nicole Kidman in Baby Girl, which, yeah, I know I'm biased, but whatever. And Saoirse Ronan from the Outrun. Like, Saoirse Ronan's performance in the Outrun, she's the only person really out of those that I would have been like, right, cool, I get it. Like, I get how she's won over Mikey Madison, but she wasn't even nominated, which I just find quite odd, really, because she's wonderful in it. So, snubs, the Outrun. Am I happy Mikey Madison won? Yes, because she's incredible and she really, really deserves it. And I don't think Demi Moore did enough to win Best Actress over her, you know. So
interesting with looking at Best Director as well. Sorry. So yeah. How do you feel about when you've got something like, okay, so Coralie, I can't say it.
Fagia.
I would say, like, the thing is with the Oscars, you can never win because it depends what criticism and what critical agenda you're going off. Because Anora is effectively filmed in public places like a documentary, and includes real people, but then there's actors within those scenes.
Yeah.
So there's an argument for, is it more impressive for the mise en scène of a fully crafted world with all acting within it, or that? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, whatever. I
think the Brutalist pissed me off.
Directed by Alan Tracy from the Thunderbirds 2004 movie, which I think is an incredible bit of trivia.
Yeah. I mean, the Brutalist. Yeah, no, I didn't know that because I think you mentioned it.
I sent it,
you text me, yeah.
Sorry.
The Brutalist, like, obviously I haven't seen it, but knowing what the subject matter is, it's just pure Oscar bait. Like, and I'm actually gobsmacked that the Academy didn't choose it because they just love that shit. Like, they lap it up. Emilia Perez, same thing. Like, they lap all that shit up, and people are comparing, like, if Emilia Perez won, it would be like Green Book winning, which, like, spoiler, I actually think Green Book's pretty good, so I can't believe people hate that. But again, like, it's just all about, like, people had a lot to say about the white savior and all that kind of stuff going on when they were talking about Green Book, and I just completely disagree. Like, so yeah, I mean, Anora is Best Director. I'm really the biggest snub there for me. Best Director is Villeneuve, surely.
See, I felt that, but I'm biased towards that kind of filmmaking.
Yeah, but
the implementation of special effects.
It's so grand. It's so what he's achieved.
All the rest of it. So that's what I would say.
I also think Luca Guadagnino has been snubbed as well because
Challenges. Yeah.
The direction in Challenges is fantastic. So, yeah, a couple of snubs there. But again, am I happy that Sean Baker won? Yes, I am, because the amount of films he's put out there that kind of embody, like, real people and show sex work again in not a demonizing way is just fantastic. So I'm really glad Sean Baker won, and what he's doing for, like, independent cinema is great. The only other one, so weird, because on Best, so what are we on here?
What did Dune actually win for? Sorry, now you've mentioned that, I'm thinking about it now. So it literally won for Best Sound class. That's a classic.
Yeah,
don't give them anything else.
We can't
Best
give you
visual
anything
effects, as it should. It is top.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I'd say it's better than even Kingdom of Planet of the Apes.
It didn't win. Substance won Best Makeup. That's the only thing that won.
Do you know what though? Hair and makeup is what it won Best Makeup and Hairstyling, which is the same Oscar that Suicide Squad 2016 got.
Nasty.
True story.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I remember when they released that Blu-ray and it said the Oscar-winning Suicide Squad, and I was like, "Oh my god, they're
not lying.
Hard on
They're
that.
not lying.
They're not lying.
It's so funny, man.
It's like, yeah.
The film that I think got snubbed quite badly was Conclave, actually. So I don't think Conclave won anything, and you've not seen that, John, have you?
Nope.
So that's a great film. Like it's kind of about it's just about like the vote between the popes on who the next pope's going to be and the politics in between that. I thought that the production design for that film was fantastic, like in the sound design as well, and some really good performances in there. I'm surprised it didn't win anything at all, but it was nominated for quite a lot. So yeah, like I mean, overall, it was a really good night for me because I was just really pleased that Anora won so much. But the best actor, obviously, Adrian Brody. I don't know, has he finished his speech yet, or still going?
Please, I've done this before.
Honestly,
I've done this before.
So boring, like the most boring. Like it's very much, when Ricky Gervais hosts the Golden Globes, like he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like where he's like, just come up, accept your award, and F off, and that's what it is, isn't it? Like don't try and lecture the public, like, and it's so true. It's like, do not lecture the public. Like just go up. You're a second time winner of Best Actor, so. Which is mad, by the way. Like, it's mad that, like, not to disrespect him, but someone like Leonardo DiCaprio's got one. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, what's going on? Like,
well, there's still time for Leo. He's got plenty of performances, and
even still, best supporting actor. So again, another film that I didn't see was A Real Pain, which is on. I've got it to watch actually, but I just haven't got around to it yet. That's Kieran Culkin. It's really nice to see him get
Jesse
some awards.
Eisenberg.
Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg. Like, I had strange opinions of him like a few years ago because I felt like he was a bit of a tool in interviews and stuff. But he seems like maybe he's changed a little bit, and he seems really quite humble. And
I think he thought he got typecast in a role that he didn't really want to be in, and tried to snap out of it after social. He said he kind of got sore as Zuckerberg for a long time and struggled to get out of that. And he said that the downfall of BVS cost his career for a lot of roles.
Yeah, he was in a really interesting film a few years ago called Vivarium with Imogen Poots, which I'd recommend for you, John. Like, really interesting. But yeah, Kieran Culkin. I mean, we know him from
Succession,
and he's fantastic. So I'm pleased for him just because I love the Culkins. Like they're both like really really nice guys, and all he cares about is his family. He wasn't going to do the film because he had scheduling conflicts. And yeah, he ended up doing it, and it was great. And I think really, like, there's not really do we have another couple of questions?
We had. Why is my WhatsApp?
It was John's job. It was John's job.
It was John's job, but John's WhatsApp's gone off. Let's find it. It's hidden in the corner. Hello. We have here from Jamie Russell.
That's it. Dox me, mate. Dox me in front of everyone.
Sorry.
Outrageous.
Any underrated performances, says Kim.Horrorscapes. I mean,
underrated.
Yeah,
so I mean, I think Margaret Qualley is definitely in there. Like, I don't think, and obviously I've already mentioned Nicole Kidman, which is I do think is underrated. Saoirse Ronan, underrated. What about you, John? Have you got any? I mean, they're all women. Like, I don't know. I'm just.
I was underrated performances.
I've already spoken about. I think Jude Law, who again, like, this is me just sucking it up really because I don't like him as an actor, but in The Order, like, he's absolutely fantastic. Zac Efron, complete transformation. Sorry. What's his name from Speak No Evil? James McAvoy in Speak No Evil is real big time. Like, he's real good fun in that.
Kim also said favourite movie snubbed at the Oscars. I mean, as we just said, I would have liked Challengers to get in there for something.
Yeah, the Outrun was completely snubbed. Yeah. Long Legs was completely snubbed. Wallace and Gromit, I mean, all it got was, it didn't get anything, did it? So
no,
I don't think so. So yeah, no, there's quite a few there that would have probably qualified. And then we've got one more.
Oh no, I've just done 2. Are we really doing the far left question?
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
Do you poo before or after showering? From Joe Kravick.
Well, I would imagine,
Jeez.
unless you're an absolute psychopath, you'd probably aim to do it before the shower, right?
I don't know why we're even entertaining this.
Because it's funny. He deserves it. Because he deserves it.
Yes.
What do you think, John? When do you poo?
What you said.
What I said. Yeah, he doesn't want to do it. It's always John. Like, he doesn't want to do it. I mean, obviously, the thing is, you don't want to poo. Obviously, the worst thing in the world is when you have a shower and you get out and you're like,
Mate, when we set out to make a film podcast, this is not where I thought we were going.
Well, listen, I know.
Got to give the people what they want, but geez, just
it's bad, isn't it? But no, I would say that.
Generally,
obviously,
we used to compare films to like classic 1950s or 1930s classics.
So highbrow, but it doesn't get the views, mate. Do you know what does get the views?
We've fallen down.
Poo talk. Yeah, it's a disaster when you do need a poo after a shower. But obviously, the aim of the game would be I have my shower very early, and then obviously from there, one sip of coffee and it's game over. Anyway, next question.
There are no more questions. That was the last question.
No, there was one more question.
Favourite movies snubbed at the Oscars, which we just said, and any underrated performances, which we also covered.
No, there was one more question, I'm sure.
Those are the only ones you sent me.
Oh, right, hold on
WhatsApp.
a minute. You just got to stay there for a minute. John, can you entertain the audience?
So Jamie's left his seat. There's a very shaky camera. And I think he's gone to find a question.
Yeah, so the question... All right, here we
go. Not by your microphone, Jamie.
The question is from Stacey's parlour.
Okay. What's the question?
The question is...
Why is he struggling so much?
Did you happen to see the last stop in Yuma County?
What?
Perchance. Did you happen to see the last stop in Yuma County, perchance? That could be disaster.
That chair sounded creaky.
Oh, it is a creaky chair. It's from like 1920 or something. The last stop in Yuma County. So this rings a bell, but I haven't seen it, and nor has John. The reason for that is just because I just sadly haven't had time. But yeah, that's we haven't seen it. Is it good? This was a film from 2023. Yeah, so this has been on my list for ages. It's a film about while waiting for the next fuel truck at a middle-of-nowhere Arizona rest stop, a traveling young knife salesman is thrust into a high-stakes hostage situation by the arrival of 2 similarly stranded bank robbers with no qualms about using cruelty or cold, hard steel to protect their blood-stained, ill-gotten fortune. Yeah, so that's been on my list for a while. I haven't seen it yet, but it's I will be seeing it soon. Stacey, you gave it 4 stars, and you really enjoyed it. You said, the kind of film that makes you think you know where it's going on several occasions, only to pull the rug out from under you. Well, you've sold it to me, so maybe I'll try and watch that. So yeah, sorry for the little disjointed bit, but John didn't get the message, or I didn't send it, one of the two.
Never sent it, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, well, you can find that film. You can stream it on Now TV, so there we go. So if you've got Now TV, stream it. If not, buy it or rent it. Anyway, John, I think that's it, isn't it? So this has been a long episode. How long was that?
It ran quite long, yes. It's 2 hours, 10 minutes.
Shit.
Anyway,
right.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine. We do what we want. Anyway, right, so I'd recommend, if you've got the patience, to go watch Perfect Days and go watch Anora. You've got our top 10s of the year. There's some highbrow stuff in there. There's some blockbusters in there. As always, you can go on moviesinapodshell.sumupstore.com and go and buy one of our brand new t-shirts. This is the t-shirt here. It is our VHS t-shirt. It is pre-shrunk cotton. It is only £18 because we don't really like making money off yous just yet. And yeah, it'll be posted from our house, and you get a free sticker with it. So go on moviesinapodshell.sumupstore.com and order a t-shirt. It really helps us out. It kind of just like We break just about even, and then it helps us pay for our Riverside subscription, which actually hasn't gone off without any hitches tonight, which is good.
Oh, why have you said that now?
Oh, no.
God.
You can find us
scuppers on upload.
You can find us on YouTube, depending if it's John's week or not to upload. You can find us on YouTube by searching Movies in a Pod Show, all one word, Tony. And you can find us there to watch the video podcast. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Amazon. And please, we'd love it if you're on YouTube, put the thumbs up. Click the bell icon to subscribe. If you're on Spotify, give us 5 stars. We only accept 5 stars. And if you want to give us any less, then we'll probably just try and delete it. But yeah, John, anything from you?
Bye.
Oh, he's done. Yeah, so am I. See you for the next episode. Bye.